As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff Booner and Lucas. It is Monday, May 19th, and we are back. Another great week. Had a great weekend, fellas. I did. I know Klotz is back. Glad Klotz.
Welcome back, Klotz. I hope you got a lot of sleep.
Got some rest, boys.
Hey, we were worried about Klotz on the show Friday. He is back. Three Musketeers are back together again. I want to say, by the way, yesterday, appreciate you all. Yesterday was fun. It was a great event. All the people that donated, put it out on social media. Power of the One Pride community. It was great. We almost raised $1,000 for MS. Millions of Americans suffer. And you guys, I mean, the community was amazing. And again, not even about necessarily just donating, but those who shared it and just showed words of encouragement and support for it. It's awesome. So I appreciate it. I know.
Had a nice little walk yesterday.
So, and yep, Boone was out there. Boone, he got his 3 miles in. Don't you worry. Boone.
I'm Boone.
Yeah. All the hills and everything.
Yeah, no, it was great. But boys, I mean, it's Monday. We got Tigers to talk about today. Raj is joining the show. I can't wait. He's our guy. And it's honestly, I'm impressed he even said he would, because I would have understood if he said no, because the Tigers actually play tonight or playing tonight, and he's still joining later in the show. So that's commitment right there. Didn't want to intrude on, he's covering this, but he's like, yeah, I'm down. I'll be there, fellas. 9:30. Raj is joining, and we got tons of lines to get to as well. So, and also shout out Demont. He graduated. I know we posted that, but finally he went back. Yep, got his bachelor's at Iowa State.
Shout out to him.
He did, yeah.
As well, man. It's big time. Same college as Brock Purdy, who just got a bag over the weekend.
Yeah,
yep.
I didn't think about that.
We talked about that on Friday, by the way, the bag he got. I think Jared Goff's contract's just aging perfectly. So we hammered that on Friday's show. So, yeah. Great time. Yeah, man, Coach Walk, don't even worry about it. It was last week, so don't worry. Don't sweat it, man. Appreciate you. Boone, why are you being weird? Hey,
I'm having fun, bro. I'm having a good time. I'm pumped up. That's what I am. Jeff, I'm going to say this. Jeff taught me something this weekend. Shout out Jeff for doing this. He said, hey, when you approach someone and say something and you don't like something, you need to say it in a professional manner, like an email. So, Jeff, with all due respect,
I did not.
I mean, you and Jake were like, hey, you and Jake, it was a group effort. We started doing it. Hey, with all due respect, Jeff, I need you to be a little bit more professional here. Come on now, brother. I'm just kidding.
What?
It was a joke.
I mean, this is like the
guy doesn't understand jokes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. No, I'll be professional.
Starting off the week right, fellas.
Be professional. I mean, where do we go from here? I mean, can someone help me out?
I don't know. I mean, dude. I don't know what you do.
I'm talking too much. Can the boys talk a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we had three things to talk about from 8 to 8:15, and in 2 minutes you rattled them all off, and then you're like, "All right, boys," and we're all like, "Klotz and I are like, oh, okay."
You want to you shout out?
Talk about D-Mine a little bit. Hey, pull the picture. Let's get there.
Talk about him.
All right. This is Klotz, this is a tough start to the show.
I'm trying to do my job.
This is a Monday start.
D-Mont, shout out to you. I'll speak for the boys. Shout out to you, man. You graduated. That's big time. All right. Some players don't have to go back and get your degree, but he did. So shout out to D-Mont. Absolute legend. Don't worry, Boone. I got it. I got you.
Yeah, I just figured maybe we're gonna throw the video up. I don't know. Maybe that's on me. Maybe I don't know. Wanted to give the guys some love. Next time I won't put D-Mont graduating in the prep. That was a bad one.
I don't think you'll ever have to do that again, Boone.
Yeah, you did. That's probably
he might get his master's degree. Who knows?
Double down. Yeah, in 4 years, popping back out, or would it be 2? I know.
You're not asking
college
degree dudes. So I mean, that's probably not the we're not probably qualified.
I beg your pardon?
You're not talking to master degree guys, so I can't answer that question.
Boone, maybe, or did you have a bachelor's, Boone?
Bachelor's, yeah.
Okay.
Unless there's someone in the chat that has a master's degree that can answer that question. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I wanted to shout out to get those things out of the way because we got a lot of content to get to. The Tigers, best team in baseball. It's official.
They are.
All right. It's official. Record wise, they are. They are the best. They are the best team in baseball. And you got Joel Reuter with his power rankings. Bleacher Report, by the way. Shout out to them. But look who's number one, the Detroit Tigers.
Shout out.
Dodgers, the Yankees right behind them, the Mets, Cubs, Twins, Cardinals, Phillies, Giants. And then at that 10th spot, you got the Padres. So Tigers, are we there to say, are we comfortable saying best team in baseball? Are we going off, they're playing like the best team, or are we confident in that statement? Where are we at with best team in baseball? Because it is kind of crazy when you say it out loud. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, especially when the Dodgers are
stacked.
The Dodgers,
yeah.
The Dodgers are the Dodgers, and you lost to them. I think you lost the series. Got swept.
That's one of the only ones they lost.
It was the first series of the season, so if you played them now, maybe not now because you have some injuries pitching. But you know what? I'll just say it. They're the best team in baseball. There's nothing else behind. This is the best team in the world right now. On this planet, they are the best baseball team at the moment. And Marcus put it in the chat, Javi Baez, MVP. How about that? Maybe not, maybe Aaron Judge or but Javi Baez for MVP at the end of the day.
He's looking like an MVP candidate. And right now, Boone, the Tigers are looking like the best team in the MLB. I'm still putting them behind the Dodgers, but at this moment, they're playing like they're better than the Dodgers. But I think if you were to have like World Series, who's going to walk out of that? I'm going to go with the Dodgers. But at this point, like, the fact that the Tigers are in that conversation, they haven't had to spend the money like LA has over the last couple of years. It shows you just how good Detroit is set up for now and how they can make a run this year and in the future. Because I think at some point they might not be going out throwing a handful of cash to everybody that they physically can, but they are going to spend a little bit more money, acquire more talent. Again, it doesn't have to be the big names around the MLB, but this team is going to get better and more deep in the spots that they need it. So Tigers, the fact that they're even in the conversation with the Dodgers and Yankees and they don't have to spend that type of payroll says enough within itself. So shout out to AJ Hinch because that dude, again, is putting on his wizard hat and just being able to find ways to get this team better and find ways to get this team wins.
It was brutal that Reese Olson. I'm excited to talk to Raj about it, who's going to come up for him. I think they already pulled someone up. I'm not familiar, but Reese Olson now on the 15-day, which is tough.
The best part of the entire team suffering some injuries. So it's brutal. We'll talk to Raj about it. I just saw something too pop up, which I do want to ask Raj about. Job.
Jackson Job. They've won 8. They've never lost to Jackson Job's pitch. Never.
So it's exciting. I mean, the pit they're still stacked to where they are, but yeah, the injuries are tough. I'm not going to say that it's record wise they are the best team in baseball. So based on the win-loss column, they are. But I think talent-wise, like they are. I don't want to say overachieving, like they're not. They don't have talented players, but they're playing really well right now. They're playing really well. It's because of that. Those guys that are pitching, that some of them are hurt, but I'm still going to give the edge. Obviously, if we're talking big picture, to the Dodgers, I think that's probably not crazy to say. We'll talk to Raj about that, just matchup wise, and kind of how they stand when it comes to winning a World Series. But I'm not trying to take people's excitement away or tell everyone to freaking,
Sounds like that's what you're trying to do now.
I don't think
I'm not trying to be like the calm down, chill out.
No, because they're not over exceeding either. Because if you watch these games, like they're very much like strategic. Like obviously Javi's doing his thing, that's a turnaround. Torque's doing his thing, that's a turnaround. Riley Green's gonna be Riley Green. Then even situations, I forget which game it was against the Blue Jays, where it's like top of the ninth, and it's an extra innings, and Justin Henry Malloy pinch hits and walks it off. And it's like Justin Henry Malloy is a guy that was in Toledo at the beginning of the season, and the fact that he's coming in a big moment like that and walking it off for a win, that's why, again, I'm not saying you directly were saying that they're overachieving, but you just see all the different ways that they're winning these games. It's just a well-built team, a well-coached team. So to your point, like, looking at the record, you'd expect to have an all-star at every position. But then when you watch them, it's like, no, you just see this as a smart baseball team that's good at pretty much everything.
like I think Jeff, there's like, and it's like this in any sport. Obviously, baseball, teams can just pay to be good, but like just because you pay and just because you have stars doesn't mean you're good. Like I look at like the Dodgers, and obviously they're champions, and they've built a championship team, and they've already won. But just because they've done that and they have that stacked squad doesn't automatically, in my opinion, put them over the Tigers. You look at like this Thunder team, right, in the NBA, they just built a perfect team. Like they built the perfect pieces, right? Like the Alex Caruso in there, both of the Jalen Williams. They have their star in SGA, which the Tigers have, and Riley Green and Tarek Skubal. Like they built it the right way. And I think the Tigers, like, they've built it from the bottom up. They've created stars within their organization to where they didn't have to pay. But just because, it's that situation, it's like, hey, this Tigers team, it's not like they're just like going out there and, hey, they're 31-16. Dodgers are 2 games back, and you're sitting there going, yeah, it's just lucky. Like, no, the Tigers have the number 1 run differential in baseball right now, boys. Like, and it's not even close. They're at like plus almost 9. Like, I think it's like plus 90. Let me pull it up. Plus 87. The Tigers have a plus 87 run differential. And second is the Dodgers. Oh, no. Or Yankees have 90, but we have 87. The next one, the Dodgers have 63, boys. Like, it's like a significant difference. And obviously the Yankees are up there as well. I was reading that completely wrong. But the Yankees are number 1, but the Dodgers still are below them in run differential, which means that the Tigers are out there just dominating opponents. Dominating. And it's like day in and day out, like a game where it's like, oh, it's going to be a tough game. Tigers win 8-2. You're like, well, it's never been like this before. So I think it's I see I get what you're saying, Jeff. It's fair. It is, because the Dodgers are that good. But the fact that we're even having conversations in almost June that the Tigers are World Series contenders, not just like, hey, they could win the division, or hey, they may be able to make a run in the post. They are officially, you're almost in June. You're 12 days, 13 days out of June. This team's a World Series contender. Like, you're in the summer almost, and you're talking about that. So I think that's big. And obviously anything could still happen throughout the season. We've seen teams plummet. We've seen the Tigers go from 0.2% to in the playoffs. So anything can happen. But right now it's like, dude, you have everyone is playing extremely well. Riley Green this last month has just been like lights out, dude. Lights out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess it feels like the Dodgers are in kind of that regular season, lull, where they can, they're that type of team where you can kind of just coast through the regular season, turn it on for the playoffs. I think it's probably the opposite for the Tigers. Like they're playing with pride, they're winning games collectively. They're I think postseason wise, you say the Dodgers are built for that type of scenario, but that doesn't mean that Tigers shouldn't be. They're not in that equation to to even make an appearance potentially or something. I think they're capable, so it's exciting. We could listen. Raj is going to break it all down for us. He's watched pretty much every single one of these games. So, and he knows them in and out. I mean, he even knows the minor leagues, and, he knows everything. Players that no one's heard of yet. So, one of the brightest guys, honestly, in the entire baseball.
Love talking to Raj.
Not even Tigers. Yeah, he just knows his stuff. So, we'll talk to him later as well. But we did have some line stuff come across, at least my timeline. I know we posted it too. Which I loved seeing, because we kind of do this every year now. And I don't know how, I hope it continues now that they're drafting still pretty well, that you have these guys that are making PFF's top 25, under 25 list. The Lions have 5 players on the list. Remember last year they had a handful of guys too. I think Hutch was on that list, but this year he's not, because he's past the limit now. People were freaking out about it. He is officially not on that list, but there are other really good players. I'm going to pull the list up right now so you guys can check it out, or at least all the Lions players that made the list. And it's kind of crazy when you put it into perspective. All the Lions players, right? And number 1 is mother effing Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell's number 1. Number 8, Brian Branch. Number 10, Jahmyr Gibbs. I'll just put it like this so you guys can look at it. 10, Jahmyr Gibbs. 23, Sam Laporta. And then 25 is Kirby Joseph. So 5 Lions are on the list. Kirby Joseph just made it at 25. But, yeah, that is kind of crazy. Brian Branch.
Right on the edge.
That's kind of – look at the differential, though, between Kirby and Brian. 8 to 25. 17.
It goes that conversation we've had in the past where it's like –
who's better?
Yeah.
I think people know. I think it's tough. Like the Kirby Joseph argument is like he had the 9 interceptions. He has 4 each year. But it's like all around player. I'm always, and I love Kirby, but I think Brian Branch. But it is crazy. 5. They had 5 last year. I just looked. They had 5 on this list last year too. And I don't think Kirby was on the list last year. So he just made it on this list from last season.
I guess I see this. Anakin says Cooper DeJean was above Kirby. That's insane. I mean, that's
for first season. Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. Jalen Carter wasn't top 10. Austin says, I didn't know that. That's kind of crazy.
I can pull up the list here if you want.
Let's take a look at it after. I do want to mention this. What I took from this list, and I think what I've been seeing a lot of, and we're going to bring an example of this up today because the NFL.com wrote about it. And we talked about it on Friday. People that are writing the Lions off already in saying that it's going to be a very different year. They're going to regress. And I'm not talking about record-wise. Obviously, they're not going to win 16 games. They could, but I wouldn't bet on it. So you're talking about automatic regression when it comes to wins. But I'm talking about general, like 9-8, 10-7, that type of regression. The thing that when I see things like this, the way people talk about the Lions right now, you would think this team is filled with 30 to 33-year-olds. Like everyone thinks this team is already this year it's like the 49ers. Except the 49ers got some young guys, but still like that type of team where a lot of guys are basically about to hit their 30s or 30 or more. That's where I think you see this list. You're like, okay, here you go. They have 5 guys in the top 25 under 25 list. So as much as people like keep forgetting that, this team still has a handful, if not, and now more guys, like guys that are 25, by the way, like Hutch, that aren't that old, that are excellent players of their positions. So before people start to mention the word regress, you can't possibly be talking about these young players. I mean, Amon-Ra, you can still consider him pretty young, and Jameer, like all these guys that are on, Jameer Gibbs, Samuel Poole, all these guys. It's crazy that people even mention them, or because these are guys that are like some of the best at their position. So when I see this list, it just makes me think all those people that keep doubting the Lions again. Here we go, and I'm just like, you guys are a bunch of idiots, man. When the lists like this come out, it's crazy.
What's crazy about it, and Jeff, that's actually a good point. I didn't even think about that when the list comes out. Like, I think the Lions have the most players on it for the second year in a row. I think they did last year as well. I could be wrong, but having 5 out of 25, what's that percentage, boys? I'm not great with math.
That would be a 20%, Boone.
20% of the list is Detroit Lions players. That means the Lions have stars. And I pulled up too, just thinking about today, what players just missed it? Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson, people were saying, oh, Hutch should be on this list. He's 24 now. He turns 25 before the season. You could argue as well, Jack Campbell, you could argue could be on that list. He's 24, probably turning 25. Hutch, obviously Kirby, Laporta, but then there's, hold on, let me keep going. JMO's 24. He's probably turning 25 before this season, or he would be on this list. Ali McNeil just turned 25. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 25 years old. Like Amik Robertson, 26. I mean, we could keep going where it's like, hey, 80% of your starters are probably under the age of like 27, 28 and under. You have one of the youngest teams in football. I don't know what the ranking would be, but you're sitting here looking at a 25 under 25 list, and you have 5 Detroit Lions players, and you have maybe 2 or 3 of them that just missed the cut because they're turning 25 before the season. That's insane. That's nuts. And that's where people, when they go, hey, the window's closing, like, yeah, it is with the money because of contracts. This team has so many dudes that are going to be that aren't even all pro or pro bowlers yet, that are like Terrion's like what, 22, 23. There's just so many dudes on this football team. And seeing a list like this kind of sheds some light on it, because you go look at the other teams that are on this list, and it's like, hey, you have maybe a couple teams that have 2 or 3, maybe max, and you have 5. It's insane. It actually is.
Yeah, and it's important to have because, and One, because you have Jared Goff, and that's not a knock, but you look at, I would say, the top 3 young cores in the NFC right now. Lions, I would put 1, and then 2 and 3, because I think there's some spots where you could pull away, like at the cornerback spot for the Eagles, but then you look at the defensive line outside of Jalen Carter, Rams dominate. So if you want to look at the Rams and Eagles, I think those 2 are 2 and 3, but you look at those quarterbacks, you look at Jared Goff, older Matthew Stafford, Jalen Hurts. Those guys do have to be surrounded with talent, because you look at the elite quarterbacks, the Josh Allen, the Joe Burrows, the Lamar Jacksons. They have a lot of key players, but you look at, for example, the Chiefs, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, they had Tyrann Mathieu. Like, they usually have these older vets. But when you have the quarterback in Jared Goff, who's very, very good, but not quite in that elite category like those other guys, when you're able to surround them with young talent, but also pair them with the vets. So like number 1, Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. The only positions that you really don't have a veteran in that room is that safety spot with Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. But I mean, year 1 of Brian Branch, you saw it. The man plays like he's been in the NFL for 2 years already. By year 3 coming into this year, when you watch Brian Branch, he looks like a guy who's just got his 5th-year option picked up and he's looking to play for big money. So even the linebacker spot, like Boone, you brought up Jack Campbell, up-and-comer. They have Alex Anzalone there, Aleem. They have DJ Reader there. So where they have a young guy, they have – I mean, it's not even a diss, because we talk with the top 25 players under, or the top 25 players under 25. The Lions have 5 of them. But you normally have a not as talented veteran, but a guy who knows how to play that position. Even for the wide receiver room, J-Mo, Amon-Ra, both those guys immensely talented. Tim Patrick, he's just the definition of a fundamental wide receiver. Even somebody like Khalif Raymond, like they have these vets to kind of smooth everything over, so you don't really see the maturity issues come to rise as much as some of these other teams that you see that are trying to get there.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, the NFC in terms of young core, it's crazy. People don't probably think about it because they have Jared Goff. He's not young, but he's not old. I mean, he's what, 29, 28.
Yeah,
So
and he's a pocket passer, so he's going to be one of those quarterbacks that plays
30.
40.
He's 30 years old. He has another 6 years. 5-6 years of his prime for most guys. So I don't know. It when I see things like this, and we'll pull up the list. It's just like what are we doing? The Lions have a bunch of great players, and you made the point, Booner, guys that aren't on this list that are borderline on this list.
Right on the edge.
They could have easily next year have even more. Who knows? Just depends. If guys turn 25, then, maybe Terran Arnold can creep into this list. We'll see what kind of year he has. Jack Campbell, certainly. I think he's right on the line too. So we'll see, but let's pull up the list. I'm curious who they actually have, where they have them. So,
I'm interested, honestly. Because a team that I was watching out for, and they're a bad team, but the Giants, and I don't know where they classified Javon Holland at. I really don't know how old he is. But you look at the Giants between Andrew Thomas, Malik Neighbors, Abdul Carter, and then like Kayvon Thibodeau. I'm not really considering him one, but like Javon Holland, they got a nice little young core. Just need a quarterback, and they'll be fine. But Giants got some studs.
Guy said the Giants.
They do, man. Neighbors, Wandell.
Out of any other team, that man pulled out the Giants. Any other team?
It's like. Well,
any other team,
they got a nice young core. They do.
But I'm not comparing them to Lions having 5.
Fuck no.
Well, when you say the other team you should be looking at is the Giants.
No, I said I'm interested. I'm interested. They're a bad team, but they got some good young players.
Penei on this list is great. I mean, I think it's the second year he's been number 1, right?
Yeah, he was number 1 last year as well. Yeah, no, he was. All right, let me know when you boys want me to go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ready, Boone.
Yeah, Penei.
Puka, which is probably fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kyle Hamilton, probably fair. I think he was top 5 last year as well. Jane Daniels, not much. Trent.
Fair. One of the best corners in the NFL.
Yeah. Jared Verse probably, and this is the first one when I saw it, was like he might be a little too high, in my opinion.
Probably.
Personally. I think they just did it based off of his
PFF.
Yeah, he's like one of those guys that he dominated last year and only had 4.5 sacks. So they're probably like, this dude's just a menace. He just didn't finish plays.
Jared Verse, who are you taking any Lions players over Jared Verse that's on this list?
Hey,
it's
am I taking Jared?
I got it to year 2, but as of right now, no.
But I'm saying like Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Real, Boone,
I'm probably taking them over Jared Verse.
I might take Verse over Curb.
That's fine. But I'm saying like Lions players. Are there any that like Jahmyr? No, he's better.
Oh, yeah, no. Give me Jahmyr.
Like I would have Jahmyr Gibbs in this spot right here over
Yeah.
Jalen Bruce.
I think he's slightly too high. The top 6 is a little. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's just.
He'll probably have watch him have
I'll
10.
take Brian Branch. Put Brian Branch here instead of Verse.
Yeah,
Put
definitely Branch.
That's crazy. Will Anderson Jr. I mean, he's in the running for.
He should be. There's another one. Will Anderson.
He should be in front of
Jared
Verse.
100%. Yes, 100%.
He should
Well, he had
honestly
89.6.
Top 5.
89.3. So I don't know why they. That makes no sense actually. If they went by.
PFF.
Yeah, I don't get it. Brian Branch, I would have taken him over both of them, or maybe not over Will Anderson, but it would be close.
Will's a monster.
Yeah, he's going to be good this year. 9, Bijan Robinson. See, he's above Jahmyr, and you guys know my argument with this. I'm taking Jahmyr 10 times out of me. And we all who was that out of you
Me.
two? That I used to go at you. Me and you went at it with Jahmyr and Bijan. I'm taking Jahmyr over Bijan every single day of the year. 365, 24/7, bud.
Waffle
Knicks
House,
or Jahmyr Gibbs in 6. How'd you like that one?
Well, I would have more of a problem with this if it wasn't one spot. Like I'm not gonna argue with you.
No, it's one. He's over. He's better than him.
It's the principle. It's the principle here, Jeff.
If it was like Bijan 9 and Gibbs like 14, 15, I'd be a little more frustrated. It's really 9 and 10. I mean,
Tell me
Jeff,
what
it's about
Bijan's better
respect.
at than Jahmyr.
they're about similar. I mean, they're about similar.
That's
He has better stats. Oh, is that just because Bijan's the only guy on his team, so he gets every touch?
I think I'm not going to go down this route, but I think context. I think I love Gibbs. I think he's an excellent running back. I think Bijan's an excellent running back. I think he's really good.
who
You had to
taking,
sign one
though?
to
who
a
you
contract,
take?
yeah.
Who you
If
you
you had
take
to
if you're
re-sign
GM?
one, who are you signing?
Oh, well, that's a
You
whole
gotta.
other-
I hate the fact you even think about it right now. That's
Yeah,
not a
I
tough
think-
question.
You probably, I think I'll go Gibbs because he can catch the ball a little better than Bijan. He's got some upside with that, but
He said,
I didn't like that. Yeah, I didn't like that.
No, but this is the same guy that's gonna talk down on Jahmyr, but the multiple
not
times
talk-
throughout
what
the
are-
season, you resign that man, Klotzy. You see that right there? You resign that man, and then we don't hear about
Yeah.
it again outside.
yeah,
of the game.
I'm not saying. Listen. Talk down is crazy. I'm saying they're the same level. They're about the same level. Like
I don't think you can have some of these guys above him when like Jahmyr is a favorite. He's a top 3 favorite to win Offensive Player of the Year, and you have guys above him on this list. I would even put Jahmyr over Brian, but like Will Anderson, he's top 5 for Defensive Player of the Year, so I'll keep that fine. But like Jared Verse, Trent McDuffie's, but I'd give me Jahmyr over him on this list.
Over
Maybe not
McDuff?
Jaden. Yeah, I do. I think Jahmyr could be top 4 on this list. Like he's third. He's third, boys, in Offensive Player of the Year odds this year. Third.
You're not talking to anybody who's going to disagree with you.
I'm not going to say over Puka, but like we're talking Offensive Player of the Year. Puka's probably like 10th in odds. Jahmyr is third. He's better. I don't know. Like I think it's a little disrespectful to have him 10th over Bijan. It's about respect, Jeff. That's what this is about. Look at the amount of more snaps he played. 300 more snaps than him. No wonder he's going to have similar stats.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to go down this route because you're trying to bait me right now, and I'm not doing it. Because you know how me and you get with these arguments. Because Bijan, they're in the same tier. They're in the same tier. They are.
Jeff, can I share something from this weekend?
Who's Bijan's quarterback?
It doesn't matter. Jahmyr's
quarterback
better.
doesn't matter for running back.
Jeff, I've had this conversation with you 100 times. You can't knock Jahmyr Gibbs for being on a good team, just like you can't knock Bijan.
Listen.
So you can't do that to Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs with an offense of Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta, J-Mo, David Montgomery in a split backfield puts up the same amount of stats as Bijan Robinson.
Blocks for him. He's number 1 on this list.
Okay, but you can't knock him for it. He puts the same amount of stats up as Bijan, and he has 8 weapons around him. Jahmyr Gibbs does.
I know. I'm not. Okay, I just want to. that's why I wanted to move on because I'm not trying to knock Gibbs. You can paint it like that. I'm not knocking Gibbs. I'm only trying to let you know you're acting like it's this big discrepancy between the two. It's really
It's not even to me. It's not between the two. I said
close.
Jameer should be like top 4, and he's 10th. So that's a big discrepancy in my book. Klotz, what do you think? That's pretty big, isn't it?
I'm with you, Boone. One of these players is the top 3 weapon in football, period. Over 25 or under 25, just in the NFL. Bijan, like he's a great running back. He has yet to do the things that Jameer has, and Bijan was with a great offensive line the last 2 years. He's had to split a backfield as well, yes, and he's had poor quarterback play. But let's not act like this man's been rotten in football hell. Like he's got Drake London out there. He's got that man Darnell Mooney. Your legend Kyle Pitts floating down there, okay? He's trying to do something. He's working. I understand it's not ideal, but Jameer is clearly the best.
Chat, let's not do this. Jeff doesn't hate Gibbs. Don't spam in the chat that Jeff hates Jameer Gibbs.
I don't get mad by that shit. It's fine. They're kidding. They're just messing with me.
No, all right, let's keep going here, boys. 11, Drake London, Klotzy's guy. Yeah. Oh, wait, is that another play? Okay, never mind. CJ Stroud, 12. That's
Shouldn't
crazy.
That help the case? Hold on.
You're making the argument that other guys on Lions are above Jameer Gibbs on the list. So you're.
Well, you just brought up Jameer as more
Can
weapon.
we not in the chat put Jeff hates Gibbs? Come on, boys. Isn't it crazy though with this one that CJ Stroud, the year he was probably like top 5, and then Jaden Daniels comes in and Jaden Daniels is 4th, and now CJ's 12th.
Yeah, but CJ, and it's not even like you can't blame CJ directly. He had that, and I don't know if it'll be as dramatic, but I expect the same thing out of Jaden next year, where it's not like he's going to be bad, but he, I think, was in a situation where the Commanders are flying under the radar, and when you look at the weapons, like Jaden Daniels was flying under the radar as far as what he could do. Now everybody defensively is going to be game planning the lights out for Jaden Daniels. CJ Stroud, not like they're not game planning for him, but his offensive line fell apart. Tank Dell got hurt. Just a kind of like a sophomore slump.
Can I be honest with you?
Go ahead, Boone.
I think it's like 2 completely different situations. Like Jaden Daniels on the ground is 100 times better than CJ Stroud.
Oh,
so
yeah, I'm not.
So like Lamar, it's
that.
like you know what Lamar is, you know what Patrick Mahomes is, you know what Josh Allen is. You could try and game plan against it. To me, it's just you're not stopping it. So and with CJ Stroud, it's like he's not that good on the ground. He's not his
like
ground game. Yeah, so it's like you can cut that part off of his game and you can dominate him. And I think too significantly, like I think the Texans O-line is not as good as the Commanders. And then I do think like Jaden Daniels only gained weapons, and I think the Texans, they lost obviously Tank Dell throughout the year. They lost Stephon Diggs, like they lost a lot of their weapons as well. So I think Jaden's going to be fine, if not better this year, personally.
Yeah, and the biggest thing I think that no one's really talking about is they kept their OC that he played well with. You know, Bobby Slowick was fired mid-season, like he
added O-line.
That was such a wild.
Yeah, like Cliff's coming back. Like that helps a lot, you know.
They drafted
anything. I'm saying that's good for Jaden. That's why it's really good.
They solidified the old line and they added Debo. I know Debo's not great, but it's like you just added a piece to what you already had.
Yeah,
with Jaden. So it's like, hey, I think they're going to be better. To be honest, I think at least Jaden will.
Or sorry, Slowick was fired after the season. Thanks, Malik. But still, they had offense problems. I mean, they did all year.
O-line was brutal. Weapons got hurt. Everything was bad there. All right. Derek Stingley, he just got a payday too.
Wow, he's that far. See, like Derek Stingley's probably top 5. I'd put him top 10 probably. I'd put him over somebody like Drake London, even Bijan for real.
He's
Brock should definitely be on this. I think he's in a good spot, to be honest, based off of where Laporta is.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think Laporta.
Brock's that guy. He's one of the best tight ends already in the league.
No way in hell I'm putting Malik Neighbors under Drake London. I know it's after year 1, but my God.
He should be ahead of Drake London. I'm sorry.
Devon Witherspoon, 16.
Good spot for him.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Jalen Carter should be way
he should
higher
be top 13, top 12, top 11, somewhere
way
top
higher.
5.
Over Bijan.
Jalen Carter should be top 5.
Yeah. Christian
like why he should be right where like Will Anderson is. That's where I'm thinking. Like if Will's like 6 or 7, whatever he is, he should be right in there.
Sorry, Buffalo Bills.
Lad McConkey, come on. I like that one. I didn't think he'd make an appearance on here.
Brian Thomas Jr.
Too low.
Devon A-Chain at 21.
Sneaky.
Tyler Smith at 22.
Good.
Sam Laporta 23, which he didn't have the best year, so the fact they still put him on the list, I think, is fair because you just know what he's about, in my opinion. And he's in a tough offense.
McBride's going to be on here.
Cooper DeJean at 24, and then Kirby. That's the crazy one that people are talking about.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Cooper there and Kirby at 25.
Were there any safeties besides Kyle Hamilton and Kirby?
That's a good question. It's a great question.
I mean, I'm with you, though, with Coop, and I'm just thinking of maybe positional value they use there, but still, if it's PFF grade, you just go off the fucking grades.
Yeah.
Well, Brian Branch.
Yeah, so it's really just Brian, Kyle, and Kirby. And Cooper, then Kirby.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's better
Cooper
than
listed as a corner.
Better than Cooper. I'm sorry. Right now, he is.
I'm surprised they had Coop over Quinyon. I think ETN just said it in the chat, too.
Yeah, it says here they're both worthy rookie Eagles. Both of them are worthy for the list, though, compared to the other larger sample cornerbacks who made the cut. Only one fits into the top 25. His Dijon Mustard PFF grades across the board give him the edge. He finished with an 86.3, 84.2, and 90.4. So he just probably had higher PFF grades. That's what they took out of it.
That's all it came down to.
What did they say? What did they say? Devonta Adams yells when he's going on the line, milk check or something like that.
Milk check, milk.
It's such a crazy line.
You ain't saying that to Cooper. Man. He's doesn't even play corner. I mean, he plays like what is he? A nickel for them?
Plays nickel, yeah.
I guess he is, yeah. But yeah, I mean, he's good. He's going to be he's going to be a great player. He'll probably end up being, I think, where Kirby. Cooper's very well rounded. You know, he's very well-rounded. Yeah. I think Kirby and what he does, taking the ball away, is the best in the league at it. You know what I mean? I don't know how you can even dispute that, which I think should put him higher on this list. Like, if you're the best in the league at something, you should be higher. You know, but I get it's all PFF and shit.
What's crazy is I feel like they're so inconsistent with these lists because they're like for Kirby at 25. He was the top graded safety overall at 90.4 and in coverage 91.1 this year. So it's like he was the number one graded safety per PFF and the best safety in coverage, but he ranked 50th or lower in PFF coverage grade each year before 20. So I think they took his career. I don't think they just used last year. They used his PFF grades for the 3-year span, which kind of hurt him. Where like a Cooper DeJean just had last year instead of a 3-year look back.
I wonder. I'm looking right now, but I wonder if it says like his run grade because I mean Kirby's not terrible against the run, but I would say even to this point he's a little inconsistent. So let me look what they have it as. His run grade on PFF.
It is weird because they use Cooper DeJean over.
It's an 83.
Quinyon, based on the 2024 he had all good grades, but they're basically in there. They're saying the reason he's at 25 is because of the years before he had lower grades in 22 and 23.
Yeah, that's dumb. Like that's really dumb. He was top 13. He was top 13 on PFF with his run defense. Like, grade. It's like, I don't know. So if you're going off grades, what are we doing?
And shout out Doughboy Steve real quick. Top 15. Shout out Doughboy Steve real quick. Yeah, I know he's talking easy, but shout out grandson just arrived. We have a new heavyweight. Shout out to him. Congrats on the addition of the family.
That's huge, man.
Massive.
Congrats, Steve.
Steve's a grandpa now.
Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, this list, I would say right now, the only thing I would disagree with is you probably can put, my opinion, you probably argue Branch or Jameer a little higher, Kirby higher. I mean, I know that sounds like, we're covering the Lions, but that's just based on who's ahead of them, just ranking-wise. I think Malik should be higher. Jalen Carter should be higher.
Jared Verse dropped a little bit.
Yeah, Jared Verse dropped a little bit, but yeah, this is all PFF grades, so it's not like it's even debatable. They just go off rankings.
Sometimes they go off a grade, and then sometimes they just do what they want. It's just a weird thing.
So it's like not even consistent with that anyway.
They don't know what they're doing over there.
Yeah. Again, only love PFF. Bless you. Only love PFF when it fits my narrative. That's the only time I really like it.
Age-old saying.
Yep. When it fits my narrative, I love it. When it doesn't, could care less about it. Well, when you look at some of these players, I mean, you talk about Kirby, the jump he took. I want to bring up some players we think will take a huge jump next year. And when I'm talking about I'm not talking about just breakout players, because the breakout players we talked about, I'm talking about a player that from where he is now to where he will be this year. Who do you think has the biggest jump in 2025? Because for me, I think, and you boys can agree with it, we'll just talk about this player. I've stated it. Me and Boone have argued. We'll just keep pushing forward. It's going to be Jack Campbell. He's going to take a Pro Bowl jump this year. So, Boone, we can argue about last year. We're just wasting our breath. Let's talk about this next year. All right. Biggest jump for me is going to be Jack Campbell. He's going to go from, and I'm not talking about Lions fan. We know he's good. I'm talking about National League jump. Yeah, people are going to know, like, Jack Campbell's a dude. He's going to be one of the best linebackers, and people will know the name Jack Campbell. And he'll be up there and competing for that Pro Bowl spot. Put up numbers. Hopefully have some interceptions. That's what I'm waiting for. I can't wait. Jack's capable of it. But I think, in my opinion, the biggest not breakout, but the big player that I think could take the biggest jump would be Jack Campbell. And I'm not saying from worst to like first type of jump, like you can go Terran Arnold or anything. I'm talking about impactful jump. I think he's he's that star type of player, I think, this year. So I'll go Jack Campbell.
I feel like Boone's thunder's just been stolen.
Yeah, Jack Campbell would have been mine. I mean, he's definitely number one on the list. So I'm going to try and think of a different one here, and I do have a backup. Welcome to the club, I guess, Jeff. I don't have your Jack Campbell pin for you, but welcome officially to the Jack Campbell club, my man.
The pin.
Yeah, see, I'm not taking it today, Boone. Go ahead. I'm not taking this one.
Can I say something too? Can I say something about this weekend, Jeff, real quick?
Go ahead.
One of the funniest things Jeff kept doing all weekend is every time I would talk with him, and Klotz, we were with Jake, and every time I would Jake or something, maybe you're pushing buttons a little bit, Jeff would just be like, "Don't give into it. He's just trying to push you. He just wants you to argue."
It's stacking. You're gonna.
He knows. And I kept saying stuff to Jake and just getting him. But Jeff, don't give into it. He wants you to break. It was the funniest thing. It was
Not
good.
getting me.
Mental endurance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jeff's starting to know me really well now. Year 3 into this thing. He's starting to really understand my ways. Listen, Jack Campbell's the clear number one. I don't think anyone can argue that, right? Like, he's going to take the biggest step. I think there's a chance you're talking all pro linebacker for him this year. I think Pro Bowl is solidified. He's going to have a huge season. If I had to pick someone else, and I hope you boys agree with this, or we might have to fight to the death at the end of the day, but Terrion Arnold, I think he has the biggest chance to take the biggest jump and for improvement this year. And I've already said this a month ago. We had the conversation about Terrion, and I brought up all the PFF grades that he had, and the same thing with the penalties he had. He had 10 to 13, let's just say 10 to 13 on the year, and 8 or 9 of them were in the first 4 weeks. And then you got to see the improvement. And I think being in the offseason, he's been in Detroit. I think he's been in Detroit working out. He's been around the facility. I think him just getting in the playbook and kind of just learning the NFL. And Dan says it all the time. We talked about it already. The year 1 to year 2 jump for any player, not just corners, but just any player in general, is that kind of massive jump you see in the NFL. So I think that was what we were expecting, I think, out of Jack Campbell. Again, I think last year, I think he had a year 1 to year 2 jump. I just think it got clouded because of the injuries. And you guys disagree with me on that, but that's okay. But I think with Terrion, I think he actually has that jump. And I think it's going to be shown on the field. Like, I think people are going to really notice it because he's not going to have that start to the year with 7 or 8 penalties in the first 4 weeks. And people aren't going to have things to grasp at. Like, he's going to go out there. He's going to dominate. He's going to hopefully, like you guys think, he goes out there and gets an interception in the first 4 weeks.
Come on,
boys.
Boone. Hey,
Maybe he gets that done.
Cleveland, Boone.
And I think there's a chance, and I said it a few weeks back, there's a chance that he ends up, putting himself in that conversation as one of those lockdown corners in the NFL. I think he has every single thing an NFL quarterback needs when it comes to skill set and size and to be successful in this league. It just comes down to the mental and comes down to, he said it himself, boys, like, I messed up. I wasn't turning around when the ball's coming. There's these things that I just need to learn in the National Football League that I didn't do before. And he's learning it. And I think he's got it down. And when a guy with that much talent gets it and figures it out, the sky's the limit for him. The world is that man's oyster, as the sayings is said. So I think Terrion is in that conversation. I would go Jack and Terrion would be that. I'm interested to hear what Klotzy. I'm interested to hear your guy. I don't know if those were one of your 2 guys.
I was going to leave Terrion, and I know this might be like, that doesn't count, but I think there's a conversation about somebody that we just talked about, and he's a known name, but when you want to talk about a jump in his career, I think Brian Branch does, boys. And I know Pro Bowler last year, 2024. But when you look at Brian Branch, like there was a stretch of the season where he was playing really good. And then after the injuries, I think outside of Jack Campbell, Alex Anzalone, Brian Branch was the next guy that was directly impacted the most, because you think about how he has to play that in the box safety and even that nickel spot. Every play he's got to have to read, pass, run. Obviously, everybody has to. But you want to talk about coming down, making a hit on the running back, dropping into coverage. Oh, there's no defensive lineman. Oh, so that means the quarterback's going to have more time. Running backs, offensive linemen, their job's going to be easier, so my job's going to be more difficult. I think there's a real shot that, one, Brian Branch becomes the clear best safety on this team. No disrespect to Kirby Joseph, just led the league in interceptions. But there are people in Detroit, outside of Detroit, that look at Kirby Joseph and say he's the better safety. In my opinion, Kirby Joseph is very good, but Brian Branch is the best defensive player outside of Aiden Hutchinson on this football field for the Detroit Lions. And when you compare him to guys like Kyle Hamilton or the other elite safeties, Jesse Bates, this year I can definitely see, and I honestly expect it too, because with the rise of Terrion on the outside, that Brian Branch is in that conversation for best safety in the NFL, and he gets that All-Pro. I understand they had a Pro Bowl in 2024, but Brian Branch is just on the verge of like, okay, this dude is the best safety in the NFL if it's not Kyle Hamilton. And I think with all these injuries, with everybody coming back, the replenishment, what they did to that front seven, specifically in the interior of that defensive line, Brian Branch is due for a huge season. And I know statistically he's always done well, but talking about this is the best safety in the NFL, there's stretches where Brian Branch looks like that. And then, again, very young player, only going into – he was in his second year last year. You could see a little bit of lapses. Now, his lapses don't look as bad as some of the other players around the NFL, but you can tell when Brian Branch isn't on his A game, and we saw that a little bit more than I think we expected. But I think Brian Branch, he just saw Kirby got paid. And he realizes now, okay, somebody else in this team, in this locker room is going to get paid. It might not be me. How do I stay in Detroit? How do I secure a huge contract? How do I get paid more than Kirby possibly? And how do I make myself the best safety in the NFL? And he's going to go out there and do it this year. So I would say that Jack Campbell and Terrion are probably that 1 and 2. But quietly, not so quietly, Brian Branch, I think, is in for the season of his life so far.
I think Terrion Arnold, Brian Branch, Jack Campbell, they're all up there for players that we think take the next step. Now, for me, I've already talked about a breakout player of mine, Christian Mahogany. I think he takes that a massive step too. But I want to mention a sleeper pick, because what the conversation we're talking about is biggest jump from where they are to where they will be.
Ooh, I know who you're going to say.
Would it be crazy if I threw out a starter on your defense?
I don't know who you're going to say.
If I threw out Derek Barnes?
I mean, it'd be a lot.
Wow.
Think about it. From where he is to where he could be. He's a sleeper, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's going Pro Bowl, but I'm saying from where he is, again, where he is, what he's looked at to where he can be. He just started playing Sam last year. We didn't really get to see him thrive at it. What if this year you see like Derek Barnes and what they paid him to be? You know, that could be a guy you look at. Maybe another one. Maybe a Lee McNeil when he comes back the second half of the year. Maybe you start to see what there's a couple guys you can look at and be like, I hope you really see that next step for him. But yeah, Derek Barnes, I don't know why. He's a starter on your defense. He's going to play a lot of snaps. Yeah. Like, what if he ends the year with 2-3 sacks, a couple pass deflections, maybe a fumble recovery, maybe like a takeaway or something, a bunch of tackles. You're going to be like,
worth that contract. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Jeff, I do think if he stays healthy for 17 games, and I've been vocal about this, like he started getting that Sam spot down, and that was kind of his position in college. I think there's a chance he goes out there and he has a big year. And obviously now, like, hey, man's gonna be a Pro Bowl, but to take a big jump from what he's been to where he's really just been a role player here and there, but they're expecting him to be a full-time starter essentially in that position. Obviously, he's not going to get a lot, like as many snaps as an Anzo and Jack Campbell, but he's going to get a bunch of more snaps than he has in the past if guys weren't hurt. You know what I'm saying there? So I do think Derek, I think he has a chance to take a big step up in his career here and have a big season. I think he's going to do it. I really do. I think the fact that he's in a position that he's played in college, and it feels like, I'm not going to say it's his natural position, but that's where he's like, once he gets that down in the NFL, It's like, hey, he's a perfect guy for that spot, because we've seen Jack Campbell there, we saw Rodrigo there, we saw Trevor Nowatzki there, and it's like, hey, but it's always been a rotation of guys. James Houston there, it's just been such a rotation. Shout out Eric too, but that rotation. Now you finally get someone in there, and Derek Barnes, who's put up, and I've said it before. I mean, the man had like 80, 90 tackles. I think I could be completely wrong with that number, but in a season, and that's being a rotational guy. So it's, hey, you're now full-time at that position. That is your spot. No one's else going to come at it for you. Obviously, guys are going to compete like Trevor still and stuff, but I think he's going to have a big season. I really do. And I'm pumped up for him, to be honest. I'm sorry, Klotz, but I'm pumped up for him.
What have I always said, which I'm technically not allowed to say, Boone.
Yeah.
I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope Derek Barnes go out there and he proves me wrong. That's all. And again, I've said it once, said it twice, I'll say it 3 times. Just because I didn't want the Detroit Lions to re-sign him does not instantly mean that Derek Barnes is ass. That's not what I'm saying. I just think that was a spot where they could upgrade. Didn't happen. We moved. Derek Barnes on the team. We root for Derek Barnes. I'm not going to be out here praying on his downfall.
No. And honestly, it's a big year for him because obviously, it extended him, but he's young. He still has upside. He was a 3rd-round pick for a reason. They obviously like what they see. And with Enzo, actually, speaking of Enzo, with him going into the last year of his deal, I'm sure they're going to work out a deal. But still,
they better.
I'm sure they will. I mean, we'll see how that kind of goes. Maybe they get it done like closer to the season or whatever. But anyway, Derek Barnes, that's a dude people don't talk about a lot. They just think of him as he's a solid role player. I think he could easily take that step into being like a foundational. Like, hey, this guy's part of the future. I mean, he is, but you know what I mean as a player. By the way, shout out Robbie. Thank you for the $2. He donated twice. He donated $2 and another $2. Says Gibbs is better, and it's not close. Talking about Bijan.
Shout out Robbie. He's that was $4 spent or $6 spent very well.
MC3 who dat says maybe Pascal stops being a dud. Oh well. Yeah, I listen. You're talking to the guy. We did this whole shebang last year. I picked Pascal, and I'm speaking for the pro Pascal community. Great guy. I think he's a fine player. I can't do it again. I can't. I gotta. That's something. I know. Sorry, Boone. Until I see it, I ain't going on that stand again. I was already on that stand last year.
You've seen it enough.
Yeah, I
be a Miami Dolphin.
I'm not going to say Pascal's going to be good until I see Pascal actually making a ton of plays.
Define what you mean good, though.
What do you mean?
I mean, he's a second-round pick.
But I think it's like anything with some of these guys. It's like at some point you kind of take that away and you go, all right, what can he be for you? And I think like last year you had that was the final year of that second-round expectations. But I think as a rotational guy, like, he's not like you wanted a second-round guy to be a starter. He's just never going to get there for any team, but he can be a very good rotational piece.
Hey, so Coach, speaking of that same room, though, Coach said Wingo.
I like the Wingo one, too.
Wingo, man. I think
that was I had him as my favorite prospect in last year's draft, and he just got hurt. That was it.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch his film at LSU, he's a dog, and he was going to be very good for you, I felt like, last year, especially with the injuries. He was about to have so many opportunities. And then now it's like this year, obviously it's a packed room, but when he does play, I feel like he's going to have I think he's going to have a big year.
Good games against mobile quarterbacks too. Like he was good at he wasn't the one getting home, but especially like when you watch Kyler Murray, Geno Smith, even the game against Tampa, like Baker's not mobile, but you saw Baker Mayfield being mobile in that Tampa game. He's good at getting the quarterback, taking a step to the left, taking a step to the right. Here's Aiden Hutchinson. Here's somebody else for the defensive ends to get home. So he's going to be good at that. If he can get that extra step, he's somebody, Boone, you talk about all the time. Get in that rotation, find guys who can give you 2 to 3 sacks. Mekhi Wingo over 18 games, if he stays healthy, definitely can. Especially when you look at him at first.
Yeah, when you look at like the defensive line rotation too, it just there's like you do have a solid rotation. I honestly, and I know people are going to hate it because people want another D lineman in there, but outside of like Hutch, Aleem, Reeder, and Davenport, Tyleek, Levi, Josh Pascal, Mekhi Wingo.
Very nice.
Yeah, and then that's not even bringing on Ahmed Hassanin, AQM. So it's like the D line's actually top to bottom, in my opinion. I think the D line's really good. I know there's that significant, hey, you need a bookend to Aiden Hutchinson. Take that away. that top to bottom, the D line and the interior, and even some of the edges with Hassanin and Mackay maybe playing on the edge and AQM, I think it's a good one. I do. I'm pumped to see Mackay play too.
Yeah, we talk about all this young talent the Lions have, and for whatever reason, NFL.com just still views them as vulnerable because they put out this article, man. I saw it today. I saw it across my timeline. And the NFL.com, they put out least in most vulnerable division champions from last year.
Such a weird word.
Yeah, most vulnerable, like to potentially lose their division from last year. Number one, it's the Lions. And they put as the description, read this. The NFC North came down to the final game of the 2024 regular season, which is true. There's no reason to think the division, which just sent 3 teams to the playoffs, won't be as ferocious in 2025, particularly with the anticipated improvement of the Bears, who were last in the
bro really did the fucking nose sniff over that.
Who were coming off last place finish. The Vikings are also making a switch at quarterback. But how do you bet against Kevin O'Connell making the right choice and having JJ ready, especially after Minnesota did so much to fortify their offensive line? The team's biggest weakness in 2024, the Packers gave Jordan Love a first-round wide receiver, your guy, Klotzy. While the Bears have done everything possible to make life better for Caleb, from hiring Ben Johnson as the head coach to overhauling the interior of the O-line, spending the first 2 picks on tight end Colson Loveland and wide receiver Luther Burden, all of that makes for a whole lot of competition for the Lions, who are still flush with talent, but must adjust to 2 new coordinators after Johnson and Aaron Glenn got head coaching jobs. Even if that process turns out to be seamless, it's easy to envision the division again coming down to the final week. So they think this NFC North is going to be a battle. At least they think. Clay Matthews doesn't. Former Packer. He already said what he thinks. Thinks the Lions are going to win it again. He said it on Bussin' with the Boys. He said it right here. I think Detroit will win the division. Shout out to Clay Matthews, by the way. So at least Clay Matthews, former NFL player, very good player, by the way, former Packer, thinks the Lions will win it. But NFL.com sees the Lions as vulnerable, sees them as wounded, potentially.
Blood's in the water.
Yeah.
Water's warm.
Now, if I'm – okay, to look at this a little objectively.
Yeah.
Do I think they're the most vulnerable? I don't know about I don't know about that. But do I agree that the NFC North is improved? Yes. I think the Vikings, I get the article, you can't bet against Kevin O'Connell, but it's easy to be like, what is JJ going to be? I think that's fair. None of us know. So, you can't really, I don't think there's not really an argument to say he's going to be good besides Kevin O'Connell in the situation he's in. And that goes both ways. I can't sit here and say he's going to be bad because we don't know. So he's kind of a big question mark at quarterback. At least you got to see. Same with Sam Darnold, but Sam Darnold ended up he had a pretty good year except for the last kind of stretch of games. So I get the Vikings are like a big kind of, I don't know how to read them. They're like an X factor, I guess. The Bears, I think Ben Johnson, I already talked about it. I think the Bears are going to be the second in the division. Packers are always going to be in that kind of.
I didn't agree with that. I was just saying sorry.
Well, you don't agree with the Bears?
I didn't want to be I didn't want to be on record saying, the Bears will be second in the division. I didn't realize that's what you were saying.
Hefe stands alone on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Packers are going to be in the conversation. So based on our win totals, man, we already talked about it. The Lions, we have different way too early record predictions, but I have them at 12 wins. I think the second NFC North team will probably be 2 wins behind them, so I'm not going to say they're wrong by saying it's going to be a battle. I just think when you look at the NFC North, everyone should look at the Lions as the best team. They have all this young talent. They have a proven quarterback. I mean, Ben Johnson, I can like him, but Dan's proven. He's been proven. They have all this talent. You could say they have the best defensive player in the division. I mean, they have the best offensive player in the division. So I don't know. I think it'll be a battle, but I'm not going to say they're the most vulnerable. I think that's a little bit of a stretch, in my opinion. I think that's just storylines in the offseason, if I'm being real. I don't look at the second. I look at the Lions as Super Bowl contenders. I don't look at anyone else in the NFC North as that level.
Agreed. I agree with that. Do you remember what did I do Friday, Jeff? Do you remember what I did? The big announcement on Friday.
The Booner path is back.
We're back. And you missed a big one, Klotz. It was a big one. One of the biggest reasons why. Because we are finally, and I'm not saying that finally in a good way, but it's a good and a bad way. We are back to 2022, 2023, where national media has fully. I mean, can we keep that stuff out of the group chat or the chat, boys? Anakin, what are we doing here? What are we doing? That's unbelievable.
Anakin's getting it in, Boone.
I mean,
he's not vulnerable anymore, Boone.
Relax, dude's in high school. Like, what are we doing here? I lost track. That's just an unbelievable comment to ever put in a chat.
Yeah, that's it. Go ahead. Booner
I
Pat.
mean,
We're talking about the Booner Pat.
The Booner Pat. The one thing, though, that's brought back from 22 to 23 is the national media hopping off of the bandwagon and being the opposite and negative towards the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell, Jeff Klotz, and the Detroit Lions, they work best as an underdog. They love when people hate them. They love it. They live for it. They eat it all up. Every last bit of it, they'll eat it up. Jeff, are you laughing? But I seriously, I think the one thing, and we kept saying it this weekend, actually, Jeff, controlled chaos. Like, this is it. Hey, let the national media be against you. We want that. The Lions want that. Jared Goff wants it, and those guys are going to succeed off it. You saw in 2023 when all of the media was against the Lions. When they would lose, they would hop off the bandwagon. When they would go on a winning streak, they would hop back off. They would lose again, they would hop off. They would win again, they would hop on. And it was just back and forth. And then they go to the NFC Championship game, up 17 at halftime, and almost go to a Super Bowl. That's what this year is going to be. This year is going to be this. It's the summer of Lions hate and Lions disrespect and national media. And you know what? The Booner Path is back because we're not allowing any of that national media to hop back on the bandwagon when this team goes 13-4 and they go win a Super Bowl this year. Keep hating. Keep doing it. We'll ride. We'll go forward. When we're on Woodward in February, just like I said Friday, boys, I don't want to see any of this national media there. I don't care. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see them cheering. Oh, I told you guys the Lions were going to do it. No, you didn't. You all were against us again going into 2025. Every single last one of you were. It feels like 2022 and 23 again. It's the same feeling I had then than I have now. Because last year it was all Lions praise. This year it's all Lions hate. It's negativity. They have flip-flop sides more than ever. And you know what? Stay on that side. We'll get it done ourselves.
It's time to clock.
I don't know who wrote that article too.
Boone, that was a great memoir, Boone. And
well, memoir is like a death, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't think it is. I just think when I think of memoir, I think of a thought out message.
This is the year the Booner Path wins a Super Bowl. I will guarantee it. I will lock it in. That is a lock. The Lions will win the Super Bowl. The Booner Path. We'll figure one out. We have until September. But the Booner Path will finally win a Super Bowl with the Detroit Lions this year. I promise the fans in the chat right now, if you're on the Booner Path, we will be victorious this year.
Hey, Boone, as the CPO, I want to let you know firsthand, I support the Booner Path. I think that there's a very good chance of the Lions. I view them as contenders. I know I have the Rams walking out of the regular season as a 1 seed, but that does not mean that by de facto, the Lions will not win a Super Bowl, okay? But I will tell you that the Lions are the most vulnerable of the conference winners last year, division winners. Let's go down the list, okay, shall we? The Rams, starting the NFC, the Rams. See the Seahawks winning, Cardinals winning.
No. No argument for the Rams.
Yeah, Rams, okay. Buccaneers. We're going to think the Saints,
No,
Panthers.
I agree.
Okay. Here's one where I could hear it. I want to hear you guys' opinions. Eagles, because the Commanders are there. I think the Eagles, Cowboys, I know the NFC East is a up and down division, but I think the Eagles go back. I think Saquon makes a difference here. I think the Eagles will repeat as NFC East champions, okay? Now let's move to the AFC. AFC South, the Texans, Colts, Jags, Titans. Jeff, I know you love the Jags, but Texans are winning the AFC South again, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Ravens in the AFC North. Steelers, no. Browns, no. Bengals with that defense, no. Bills, AFC East. Dolphins, Jets, Patriots. Like, Patriots, I think, could be a wild card team. They're a year away.
Klotz, I'll save you the time. The only argument, because I think you're right about every division except for the NFC East. I think the Eagles are more of a threat to lose.
Yeah, I'm not. And if you guys want to say that, like, I'm not. I would say the teams that I'm fighting with are the Chiefs and the Eagles, and those are two elite teams. They are just in really fucking tough divisions. Like the Chiefs, I think they're still going to be really good, but I also think the Chargers are going to be really good. I think the Denver Broncos are going to be very, very good. Like, I don't know who I like more between the Chargers and the Broncos, because when you look at the Broncos offensive line, that's the top 3 offensive line in football. They just got a really good running back in RJ Harvey. They got Evan Ingram, and that defense is going to be top notch. So I think the Lions, again, by saying that they're the most vulnerable, it doesn't mean that they're the team that, they're the most likely to lose their division because their team's not good. But I just think the divisions that you're talking about when you say most vulnerable, and I know you guys imply this, it has nothing to do with the Lions themselves. It has to do with the division that they were in. If the Lions were in the AFC South, this wouldn't even be a conversation. The NFC South, the AFC East, they just happen to be in a division where if the Packers were in another division, they're probably winning it. If the Vikings are in another division, they're probably winning it. The Bears, I'm not going to say that, because with Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, that's yet to be seen. As Jeff would say, I got to see it first. And that's with the Chicago Bears, because Easy dropped it in the chat. Lions, they got a brutal fucking schedule. They do. So do the Bears. Okay. So do the Packers. So do the Vikings. I know the Lions have the first place schedule, but when you look at the shared schedule, the NFC North, all of them have a gauntlet to go through. So the Lions, I think, should be that number one, just because when you compare them to the Chiefs and the Eagles, I do think both coordinators being lost, again, that's where it's like, okay, if there's going to be a foolproof plan where you're going to be like, hey, the Chiefs still have Spags and Andy Reid. The Eagles, they still got Vic Fangio and Sirianni. That's the one thing where it's like, okay, if I had to pick one, it's the Lions, but you're truly pulling hairs, and it's just the divisions. That's all.
I just disagree. I think the Eagles are the most vulnerable, and I think the Eagles will be really good, but you can't. I mean, they're in a division with the Commanders, who are higher in Super Bowl odds than the Packers, Bears, and Vikings. Like the Commanders,
Will Harris.
The Commanders are going to win. They're going to win. They're going to be.
You can't use one player though, because the Commanders.
They're going to be right around where the Eagles are record wise.
Whoever. That's why. Like I think.
And then the Cowboys
division to 12. No, don't.
No. Hear me out.
You do have to still like.
Yeah,
respect him at least.
The Cowboys, we can all agree, as a head coach, don't know about the head coach. But what I can tell you,
the roster.
We know the roster, they have talent. And the Cowboys, although you can talk about their postseason, failures, would you be shocked if the Cowboys are 11-6 this year?
Yes.
No. And when
God, yes.
This is just
really?
Jeff, we had this conversation a month ago, and he was dying on the hill that the Cowboys aren't even going to have come close to the playoffs. It's the most ridiculous take I've ever heard in my life. Like, they have the roster. They've added good pieces.
We can hate them.
You can hate them and have the bid all you want, but you have to. And they always are in the playoffs besides last year. They just lose it in the playoffs.
Let's look at the Cowboys and when they've had this roster. The Eagles were not the Eagles that they were right now. The Commanders were an absolute joke of an organization. I think the Cowboys are closer to the Giants than they are the Commanders of the Eagles.
That's crazy.
Dude, the last time the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, the Cowboys won 12 games.
Dude, that's prime Zeke. That's prime Zeke. And the prime.
That was 2 years
prime
ago.
That was prime Zeke.
That was 2 years ago.
Okay, you're correct. It's not prime Zeke.
Yeah, I know I am. The argument is so invalid.
No.
They're a regular season team that loses in the first round. We can agree on that.
You look at that Cowboys team
and then lose.
Year. Let's look at that Cowboys team last year, okay?
Everyone got hurt.
Where did they improve?
But no one played last year.
Yeah, that was
when they were healthy. They
were healthy 2 games.
The Cowboys will be a 7-win team this year.
Oh, dude, I can't. I don't even want to.
Cowboys will be a 7. I'll give you maybe 8. They're not making a wild card game. No way.
They'll win 10 plus games, and they'll have a chance at a wild card. And if they make it, they'll lose.
Eagles, Commanders, and Cowboys are all winning 10 games.
No, I didn't. No one said that. I said, would you be shocked
if the
Dallas?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because then the Commanders aren't going to win 10 games, and there's not going to be 3 10-win teams in that division. The Eagles within themselves are going to sweep them. Commanders are going to sweep them. The Giants defensively, like, guys, Dak's going to be throwing 40, 50 times a game. Let's not forget he's coming off a major injury, another one. This offensive line, it's going to be good, but it's not the offensive line that it has been. They still won't have a run game. Javonte Williams, okay. Trayvon Diggs, another injury.
30-second timeout, Klotz. You're telling me, 30-second. You're telling me that last year, Eagles win 14 games.
Okay.
Commanders win 12. And last year, when Dallas probably played 2 games without injuries, not even that, they probably had a major injury in every single game last year. In 80% of their season, almost all of their stars were out, and they didn't have a quarterback for half of the year. You're telling me that they won 7 games last year with the roster with all those injuries. Everyone comes back from injuries. They add more pieces, draft offensive linemen, draft another edge to go with Micah Parsons, and you're telling me they're going to be the same 7-win team as last year after all of those injuries and after adding more pieces this year? It's a ridiculous take.
They lost their best and Hall of Fame offensive lineman, Zach Martin, and you lost a coach that won a Super Bowl in Mike McCarthy to go to a coach that's never coached a game in their life. The division just got harder.
You can't use him you can't use him as a pillar of your argument when you're cooking them last year and he was the head coach and you're cooking them the year before.
Win anything.
So you can't use him as an argument losing him. You can't use you can't have both sides
drop
there.
Down even farther from that.
No, they're not. They're not. That's insane.
The fall off of Mike McCarthy.
Dak played 8 games and they won 7 games. They had Cooper Rush for 12 games last year and they won 7 games.
The Cowboys will
Cooper Rush won 7 games.
The Cowboys will be a 7-8 win team.
But in their schedule, like they open up the schedule with Philly. So it's like, okay, you want to give them a loss? Then they could face New York, the Giants. They face the Bears. They face the Packers, the Jets, Carolina.
Win.
The Cowboys will be a 7-8 win team.
But okay, I mean,
I can agree. Like if you're like, hey, they lose by like someone in the chat said, lose by 30 in the playoffs. I can agree with that because I hate the Cowboys. In our life, they've never won in the playoffs. I can agree that they're one of those teams regular seasons and they crash out in the playoffs. I just can't look at this roster and if I had to put like money on the line, be like, hey, this team's only going to win 7 games. Like to me, that's insane. Like if you want to make a bet, we can. That you get 7. I'll take over
under
7.
8.5. I think you can do a bet on that.
Okay,
well, he says.
Under.
Okay, I'll take the over.
I'll go over with you, Boone. I'll go over.
Yeah, we'll do. I don't know what we'll do. We'll do the pizza. We'll just do a pizza bet again. We have a lot of pizza bets. We'll do a pizza.
I'll do over if it's 8.5.
And you know what, Klotz? 2-1. You only have to buy me and Jeff one. We'll split one. We'll buy you 2. So you're getting 2-1 odds here.
No, I want a pizza and a cheesy bread.
Whatever.
All right. You're still getting more. You're still getting more than what
there. Be like
you're getting more than what we would get.
Just served. They made a little splash. That's fine.
And if you look
50 times a game, get gassed out.
Klotz, they drafted Donovan Izaraku, and they brought a Dante Fowler Jr. in, who had 10.5 sacks last year to go with Micah Parsons. They have Micah Parsons, Dante Fowler, who just had 10.5 sacks, added Donovan Izaraku. I mean, the defense is going to be better.
They still have the worst defensive line in the division. Or it's right
you're just trolling at this point.
The Giants
they added George Pickens.
Eberflus says DC. You at least know the defense will be fine.
They drafted
Tyler Booker.
This is what's going to happen. Okay, this is what's going to happen. Mike McCarthy, and this is why I say he was in a situation with Aaron Rodgers and those Packer offenses where they put up points. That Dallas defense is going to be giving up yards, just like they always have, because that secondary has no true star back there. Deron Bland gives up yards. Trayvon Diggs gives up yards. Offense are going to be putting up points. The Dallas Cowboys, yet again, will not have a good running back game, or they won't have a true running back game. Javonte Williams is all right. So you're going to rely on Dak Prescott to throw 40 times a game. Dak Prescott is not able to throw 40 times a game over the course of a 17, 18-game season, just like he showed you multiple times where he gets hurt. And now he's coming off a major injury yet again. So I don't think Dak is going to be playing at a top 10 level. You're going to be asking him to throw 40, 50 times a game. George Pickens isn't getting the ball this time. Oh, shit, there's George Pickens on the sideline, 15-yard penalty. Oh, George Pickens. Micah's mad. Trayvon Diggs is mad. Who's the dude trying to calm it all down? Schottenheimer? That's a dude? No. Dallas Cowboys, they're going to be good on paper. That's a 7-8 win team if I've ever seen one in my life.
This is I feel bad we have to do this to him, Jeff. Like, I hate it because it's like, so obvious.
It sounds like, because Boone, it sounds when we say it out loud, people are like, oh, you guys are so high on the Cowboys. No, it's not about being high on the Cowboys. Like, it's just about acknowledging, like, yeah, they'll win 9, 10, most
people every year will say something negative about Dak. Let's say what Klotz is saying about Dak, and it's like, oh, then well, guess what? He ends up throwing for 4,000 plus yards, and and it's just like, oh, he's throwing too much. But they end up winning 10 plus games, and it's like,
you're only going to be able to have so many season-ending injuries and be able to throw 40, 50 times a game. And that's what you're going to keep asking them to do. And then the defense is going to keep
But
giving up yards.
every time you've asked them to do it, they win 10+ games.
This is the best the NFC
only
East
time
is
your
gonna
argument.
Be. Like, the Cowboys
only argument you can make is that they wash out in the
Commanders.
playoffs because they do that all
Now,
year.
I think the Cowboys and Commanders are switching. The Cowboys are going to be the 7 to 8 win team like the Commanders have been, and the Commanders are going to be that 11 to 12 win team that the Cowboys have been. The Cowboys are just, dude, they have Ryan Schottenheimer as their head coach. They're cooked. You
can't use him as an example when he hasn't coached a game in the NFL yet.
Okay.
Like, you can't.
You're in one of the.
You could say if a rookie head coach, okay, that's fair. But you're acting like he's like the worst head coach in the world. We don't know anything about him.
Okay. See, it's like this is what I'm talking about though. Like Cody, when did the Cowboys gooning? No one's gooning.
No one. We're not saying they're going to be good, but they're going to win more than 7 or 8 games. They're going
to. They'll miss the playoffs. Like
I think they're going to be a wild card team. They're going to be right on that edge right there.
No way. No way.
Gooning
They're not going to be better than any of the NFC North teams. There's going to be a team from the NFC West that's going to be good, whether it's the Seahawks or the Cardinals, maybe even the 49ers. Like, no, I don't see it. Falcons could be nice. The NFC South sucks.
The Falcons, so they'll be better than you think the Falcons will be better than them?
I think those will be 2 similar tier teams.
Okay.
And the Falcons, by the fact, because in the NFC
let's get to the next segment. I can't keep doing this, man. This is, and Klotz, I'm not bringing up old takes. This makes me feel like when you were, and this again, I'm not bringing up this argument right now. This was the feeling I had when you were trying to tell me CJ Stroud was going to be a bust, and I was sitting there like,
we bring this up
no. That's what I'm saying. I'm not bringing out the take. I'm saying the feeling I have right now going into the season when it's like a take that I feel very confident in. That is what this one feels like right now.
That's fine.
And I'm not using that as a bad. I'm just saying I have that gut in my feeling where I'm like, I don't know how else to explain to you. Like it's like you are a lost puppy running in circles.
This is how you guys felt when I said Hendon Hooker would start.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Those are two. I think those are 2 of the best examples. When you were trying to push Hendon Hooker last year, and Klotz was trying to tell me CJ was going to be a bust. Like I have that. This might be the argument of the summer where I have that pit in my stomach right now, being like, oh my gosh.
So
there's no way this is happening.
7 to 8 wins. If you feel confident that the Cowboys are going to be the Cowboys of old, just like they have been, even though all those guys are gone and retiring, DeMarcus Lawrence is gone too.
Maybe not Cowboys of old, but better than what you're saying. Like 7 wins,
7 to 8 win team after losing 2 of their key cornerstones, and DeMarcus Lawrence, Zach Martin, their head coach, but they go get George Pickens, so everything's okay.
See, everything's that's where it's like everything's not okay. It's just 9 games. You're saying they won't win 9 games.
If the line's 8.5, I'm taking the under.
It might be 7.5. I guess people are saying it's 7. I don't know what the exact one is, but regardless, you said 7, so it's over or under. I mean, whatever it is. Yeah, I don't even want to root for. I'm not even rooting for the Cowboys, but this is tough. I mean, I'm just trying to make a take here, and I just don't. I don't get it. I don't get it. But you know what I do get? Why ESPN had this player as the best fit for the Lions in free agency.
Let me guess, it's an edge.
Oh yeah, it is.
Oh.
And it's not even creative. It's Darius Smith. It's the best fit. I mean, come on. What are we doing here? Did whoever wrote this, did you just wake up feeling lazy? I mean, come on. What are we doing here? I did say this morning with this whole Darius Smith stuff, we're not going to we don't have to beat a dead horse on it. But I said when I made the video today, kind of talking about it, and I think we've talked about this before, Boone, and we're in lockstep with it. But healthy, if you bring back Za'Darius and this defensive line on paper, I think it's one of the best in the league. So it's really, I'm not saying, I think Za'Darius does help in that equation because then you're keeping Davenport on a snap count. You're bringing some juice. You already have some up and coming guys, obviously guys that are already established. I think it's one of the deepest defensive lines if you add in Za'Darius. Yeah. So, I mean, even though to say that Za'Darius Smith is the best fit for the Lions is pretty lazy. But with Za'Darius, Aiden, Davenport, Aleem, Tyleik Williams, DJ Reader, and then you have guys like Levi, Josh, Makai. I mean, you got to look at that defensive line on paper and say, it's one of the deepest in the entire league. So if he does end up joining the Lions, coming back, I don't think anyone should be talking about the edge spot. So I'm just saying. Even if you could bring back Bruce Irvin on top of that.
That's such a good pull. Bruce Irvin is so funny. I do think we're at a
still
point.
Remember him from that Derek Carr hit.
Man, Bruce Irvin.
Yeah. Just there's never been a player. Oh, there has been players.
Didn't Derek Carr come back in the game too?
No,
No,
I don't think
that
so.
was that was a different play. I was thinking Stafford
it was such
getting
a
hit.
blatant penalty too. Like the ball was already thrown. He just wanted to get one last like good hit in the NFL. I feel like.
Hey, Weezy said, Jeff, you forgot to say Broderick.
Yeah,
bro.
that's
Uncle
funny.
Bruce.
That's how I feel about the Cowboys situation right now. That's my Broderick Martin moment with you fellas. It's like, fellas, it's not going to work. It's not happening this year. Not the year.
Cody says,
Can't take it serious, Jeff. I can't. I'm sorry, dude. It's just one of those takes where it's just I'm so flabbergasted that someone's on the under in that one.
Good use of the word flabbergasted, but it's sad that you
towards
had to
the
waste
chat
it in that statement.
Towards the chat being like, don't call us crazy. You're crazy. I don't know what else to say. It's crazy to me.
The chair was fucking.
You know what? Like, there's always times where when we talk about teams, I know we have, whether people want to admit it or not, we have. Now, I'm not saying this is you, Klotz. I'm not, because I think you're just
say it. No, I want you to say it if it is.
No, it isn't. Because I think you genuinely believe what you're saying. I'm not. This doesn't apply to you. But I think there's people out there that already have a bias with teams.
Yeah.
And I would love to know, like, if we had a Dallas Cowboys content creator on, what do you think he would say? Over. You know what I mean?
12, 13.
Yeah. So it's like, maybe he's being too biased. But I'm just saying it's not like
maybe Klotz just hates the Cowboys.
I mean, I do, but like there was seasons where it's like, okay, the Cowboys, they're gonna win. Like they there's nothing that's dropped off. Like the Cowboys have dropped off, in my opinion. There's not gonna be like, let's think.
We just heard
how many 10+ win teams are we having in the NFC? We have the Eagles, we have the Rams, we have the Lions. I'm gonna put the Buccaneers in there. Probably either the Packers or the Vikings, maybe both. Jeff, you think the Bears, the Seahawks?
No, I didn't say. I didn't say
Commanders.
It could just be second of the division. Who knows? Second, whatever that means. We'll go with that.
And you got to remember too, there hasn't been the same winner in the NFC East since
the Commanders. So that's what I'm saying. But that's the Commanders.
Yeah, but
now.
I think
It's
more
not
teams. I think there's 3 teams in that division. I think that's a tough division at the end of the day.
It's a tough division. I'll give you that, and that's exactly what I'm saying. They're not going to be like a where the Cowboys have been. Like it's been like an easier division outside of like it's been the Eagles and the Cowboys. But now it's the Eagles. Commanders are legit as fuck. Cowboys, like, they have the worst head coach in the division. I would say obviously Dak's better than Russ and all them, but 3rd best quarterback, worst running game. Probably I would say the 3rd offensive line, 3rd defensive line, secondary solid.
But you said the NFC. The NFC last year had 8 double-digit win teams.
Think it repeats? Because I think this conference got a lot tougher.
But AFC had less. You know, they had 7 or 6. I can't remember off the top of my head. But they had 8. And the Seahawks were one of them, by the way. Do you think the Seahawks are 10 again?
See, hey,
no, I think there's less. Like, I think just as the conference as a whole, it's a dip. Like, I think the elite teams are going to be able, like, the Lions are an elite team. Their line is at 10.5. Like, what?
Here, like easy, like the last good year they had, they were the biggest frauds and got dog walked by Jordan Love at the home. But listen, I'm on the side where they are frauds. They're just going to find a way to win 9-10 games and get bounced. That's what's going to happen this year.
They're not a playoff.
7-8 going the under, like they're going to hit their over and they're going to go home happy, and then they're going to get to the playoffs, and Dak's going to try and throw 50 times, throw a couple picks, and they're going to be on their way to Cabo.
That's not a playoff team. No way, no how.
There's teams that make the playoffs all the time.
I'm glad you brought that up, Boone. I'm glad you brought that up because I don't want that narrative we're not thinking the Cowboys are this team. It's going to go on.
Yeah, no, I don't think they're going to win anything outside of it. I think they're just going to win a couple games in the regular season, and that's it.
They'll hit their over. They're over 7.5. Yeah. They're smacking that over, man. It is.
Are we getting? Is the 7.5 the over under? Is that the bet, or is it 8.5? Because the Vegas line's 7.5.
Well, I said 7, so I don't think it really matters.
Yeah, I said they're a 7-8 win team. I'll stand on 7 and be wrong with 8 happily.
Okay, so 7.5. That's the bet, the pizza bet. 7.5.
Yeah, whatever the over is, just hit the over. We'll just go with that. I don't know what the over is. But we'll figure that out. Hey, speaking of the Hendon Hooker take, did you see what Mark Brunell said about Hendon Hooker?
I did not. I saw that you put this in the
Oh,
prep,
Jeff.
but I really didn't even want to read it. I'd rather it be told from your
Brunell
point of
was
view.
very enthusiastic about the young quarterback. Let me read this. He said, every year, by the way, I want to give credit. This is Nolan Bianchi, Detroit News. Excellent breakdown.
Shout out Nolan, man.
Excellent breakdown. In the article, excuse me. Oh, sorry. I'm getting worked up. I'm excited. In the article, Mark Brunell said, every year he is just going to get better. We've already seen it in the first couple of weeks that we've had on the field. He's throwing the ball better. His footwork is better. And he understands there are concepts. This has been really good for him. Brunell said last week. He also said, let me pull this up for the boys. Hold on. There's another quote. I'm not done. Brunell also said this. He said, let me pull this up. As we go, the kid, because of his focus and his attitude and his work ethic, he's naturally going to become a better quarterback. When he gets out there in preseason, I imagine he's going to have a lot of reps. And you'll see a better version of him than you did last year. I'm excited about that. I'm really pleased with Hendon Hooker. Okay. Oh, yeah. We're running it back again. Hey, you thought I was done. He's getting better. Ladies and gentlemen, your backup quarterback. For the playoffs, too. Hendon Hooker. You can keep sleeping. You can keep you can keep sleeping, Klotz, but that alarm's going to go off. I'm telling you, that alarm's going to go off preseason. It's going to wake your ass up.
Looks like a nice pillow over there. Nice and
yeah, it looks
fuzzy.
like a very, very comfortable pillow. But Mark Brunell has been pumping him up. He said he's got some zip on the ball a little bit. What about Kyle Allen? Has he talked about Kyle Allen?
Who was going to talk about Kyle Allen? Hendon Hooker's a third-round pick, Jeff Iafrate. There are going to be questions about Hendon Hooker.
Ooh, I like that.
I think you just need to. I think it's about that time, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to stand on it. Let's get a new backup here in Detroit. They went and got.
You don't trust Brunell?
Teddy. I trust Mark Brunell, but
he said he's happy.
Coaches say, yeah, he's happy as Jared Goff.
Oh,
they had to go get Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater. I am so far out on the Hendon Hooker stuff until this is one of those moments, Jeff. I'm going to pull at you.
See?
I got to see it.
It ain't a me now.
I got to see it.
Now,
no, I got to see it because the fact, and it turns me off a lot, the fact that Hendon in year 2, fully healthy, was supposed to be that guy where guys like you, Jeff, were telling me he could be your starter. If Jared, don't pay Jared. Don't give Jared a contract. Hendon Hooker's going to be ready. Don't pay him. And you know what, Jeff? They had to go get another backup quarterback to be in front of Teddy or be in front of Hendon, and they brought Teddy back. I'm out on it. That right there alone tells me that they're not confident. How much development are you going to allow a quarterback like that who is 27, 28 years old to have? How much?
Hey.
If he was like 23, 24, 22, I'd be like, give me Hendon Hooker. Let him just keep learning.
The flight is taking off. It just got delayed. That's all it is, baby.
Jeff,
you ever been? We've all been there at the airport. Boop. Flight number 57 will be delayed. This is Hendon Hooker,
it's the worst. Dude.
It's getting delayed. Or no, what's his number? Hold on. I forgot his number now. Shit. Flight number 2 will be, or 12.
Look at this is Klotz on Friday. Missed the whole show sleeping. Look at him.
Flight number 2 will be delayed until 2025. That's what the people say.
Jeff, let me put this into perspective for you. Can I please do? Can I put this in perspective for you?
Yeah, you put it, shape it anywhere you want.
Jordan Love took 2 years to develop and took the job. Hendon Hooker's going into year 3. Jordan Love's been a starter for 2 years. He's in year 5.
Yep.
Hendon Hooker's going into year 3. Jordan Love is 26 years old. Hendon Hooker is 27 years old.
Hey,
he's going into year 3.
Young.
He is going. No. He's 27. He's not even 26.
27 years.
He's going into year 3.
Yeah.
They had to bring in another backup quarterback because he wasn't ready in his second year. Going into year 3, Jordan Love was starting. He was ready to be a full-time starter. Hendon Hooker wasn't even ready to be a backup in year 2. What are we talking about here? The fact
Give
it's
me
still a
Joe
story
Milton.
is crazy.
Give me Joe Milton over Hendon.
And like and Malik being like Kyle Allen, you guys see that the definite. Yeah, he is.
Ass.
Kyle
He
Allen's
is.
been out there.
He is. That's why
Kyle
I say, hey,
Allen's
let's
seen
go out and
Yeah,
get
bad
someone.
in his life.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, man.
Hey, you guys can you can keep recycling that old, they brought in Teddy. I will continue to stand on it. They brought in Teddy. They brought in Teddy for experience reasons. I do.
They didn't. Hendon Hooker was supposed to be ready. He wasn't ready.
So
I don't care about the
if
experience. He wasn't
Jared
ready.
Goff went down and Teddy Bridgewater was on the roster last year, do they put in Hendon Hooker? Or do they put in Teddy Bridgewater for experience reasons? This is a regular season game.
Well, considering that one seed was on the line, they would probably go with the experienced guy.
So wouldn't that by de facto just make him the backup for experience reasons?
Well, this is year 3 now.
But I'm saying last year, you keep saying you talk about that wild card game like he was just not the backup quarterback.
No, he's
for
ready.
that game.
He's ready. He's ready.
To do what, dude?
Hey.
Now,
I want it on
Allen.
record here. I want it on record here. Brian Walsh thinks Hendon Hooker is going to be a star. Jeff Iafrate. He thinks he's going to be a star.
Yeah, Brian. I just hey, Brian. I got you, baby. Just hold on. All right, this is what I'm saying. All right, I
Listen,
will put another pizza on the line.
2 pieces of bets in one day.
Yeah,
I'm out of this one.
And possibly a cheesy bread bone.
That week 1, it will be announced he'll be the backup, and they're not going to bring in some other quarterback because if they're not confident, they should, right, fellas? They should bring in a
They
backup.
did it until halfway through the year last year.
You're taking
They
this
should.
as me saying that Hendon Hooker won't be. This is me saying I don't give a fuck if Hendon Hooker is the quarterback
You
2
better.
or the
better.
quarterback 3.
I need to win a game with him.
It won't matter. It simply won't matter. Like at that point, it's cooked. You're acting like Hendon's gonna be like walking out of here like the Nick Foles or Carson Wentz situation. It's like, no, dude. Like Jared Goff signed for this team for the next decade. It seems like
No.
Hendon Hooker's not sniffing grass. He's gonna have to touch grass. He's gonna might as well just dress up in civilians.
He's bedding grass. He's planting 3-step drop
Oh
back.
my gosh. Can we just stop talking about this?
You
Because I don't see a
go
world.
Wildcat and you,
You know
put
what I think?
Jameer
You know what I
and
think
David
happened?
in.
My theory is that
Dog
John
goes
Morton.
down.
John Morton came into the building, and John Morton said, "All right, let me
do
look
not
at the
say
quarterback."
what I think you're
Where's
gonna
John
say.
Morton coming from right now? This is so out of left field.
No. I think he walked into that room and he said, "Let me look at the quarterback room." He goes, "All right, Jared. Yep, Jared's obviously the starter. Who's this? Who's 12? Who's this Hendon Hooker guy?"
He knows
He
who
looked
he
at-
is. He's entering year 3. He was there his rookie season. He knows exactly.
This is
who he
unbelievable.
He looked
from
at Mark
Jeff.
Brunell. He said, "Brunell, I trust you. You tell me, what's this kid got?" Brunell
What
said,
makes you, Jeff?
I like
What makes you think that if they had to go get someone for the playoffs 5 months ago, that just all of a sudden now that they're like, because you're like experience. Okay, so he still has no experience going into another year. Do you think just all of a sudden he has experience and he's ready to go for a back? Like, what makes that happen? What makes you think that?
because you're basing that moment, which I already explained my reasoning, on what I think.
What's changed
and-
though? Is what I'm asking.
He's ready.
How do you know that? You haven't.
Because
5 months ago. 5 months
because
ago.
of what Brunell said. I trust. What
They had
Brunell
positive things to say about him last year too. And then what they do when it came down to a push
said.
to
What did
shove?
Dan say?
They
What did
brought
Dan
back
say?
Teddy.
What did Dan say?
He said last offseason, he said he's progressing forward really well. We love
what
what
did
we're
Dan
seeing in
say
Hendon
when
Hooker.
they brought in Teddy. Did you remember that when he talked to the media?
Yeah, they needed the experience. That's your argument. But then this year you go into it and you get to the playoffs again. Guess who still doesn't have experience?
Well, now it's like he's.
Oh, that was really throwing you off there, didn't it?
No, he's ready. He's
Oh
ready to be
my
the
gosh.
backup. QB2.
That was crazy.
You ready for it?
Look at this finger, boys. Smashed it at work.
I mean, this guy. It's like, is that what? That's why you were on the IR on Friday. Because
No. No, it's not. It just
not
hurts,
at all.
man.
Not at all.
I'm just trying to zone Jeff out talking about Hendon Hooker. I'm just like, my finger fucking hurts.
Michael says, what if Bro takes over the preseason?
He did last year. They still went and got Teddy.
Yeah, he laid it all on the line.
I don't know, dude. I don't know what else. Like, it just, to me, I don't understand how there's actually Lions fans that are being like, yeah, Hendon's it. Like, you should feel a little turned off of the situation last year with Teddy coming back. And if you're not, then you're just obviously you can't think for yourself, and you're just going against Klotz and I.
No, I think for myself. I'm thinking Manu is going to be that left tackle in preseason for Hendon Hooker.
Jeff's going to watch a touchdown drive against like the Steelers' third team. And it's going to be Giovanni Manu, Hendon Hooker. And it's going to be like a dump off screen, and we're not going to hear the end of it.
Yeah.
Circling the wagon. That'll be all right, though. Hey, Boone, sometimes you got to, when the kid's just crying for candy over and over again, you're like, my God. You just give him like
why didn't they sign your guys' boy, Jameis Winston? Go sign a backup then.
Because the Giants offered him a bag and said, hey, you potentially could actually start here at some point if Russ is buns. How do you feel like throwing deep balls to Malik Neighbors?
There's plenty of backups.
Fun.
Doughboy Steve with his first comment of being a grandpa.
That's Doughboy. I mean,
that's it's a little far, but
I mean,
shout out to him.
See, so like this is where I'm talking about here. Booner, you should be turned off because Goff threw 5 picks in the playoffs. By the way, 3-on-3 court. You need to get your facts right. He didn't throw 5 picks, so let's do your research a little bit more.
5 turnovers.
Yeah, so I'm saying he needs to get it together a little bit. You still believe in him. Let us believe in Hooker. I promise you, whether I didn't believe in Goff or not, I'm not believing in Hendon. He hasn't showed you that he could be a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL. You have a Super Bowl roster. Why is he saying we can't? That makes no sense. That comment does. Comparing him to Jared Goff, it's a night and day difference there.
I just think he's going to be he's the best quarterback besides Goff they got.
It doesn't tell you much. There's a lot of backups out there that are 100 times better.
Why didn't they?
You're probably outside the top 20. If you ranked backup quarterbacks in the NFL, the Lions room is probably outside the top 20. That's not good. You can't deny that. Look at that laugh.
Because we have no evidence to base that out.
No, you have. See, that's where that's end.
Well, we don't have any evidence. They
need to trade for Mike White. Mike White to Detroit. Get him out of South Beach.
Yeah,
White. It's so crazy. People in the chat are comparing Hendon Hooker to Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers sitting. And
I think of it more Drew Bledsoe, Tom Brady. That's right.
This is one of those moments where it's like, hey, Jeff's just pushing now. He knows what he's doing.
Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I think of it more. Yeah, I think of it more Tom Brady behind Drew Bledsoe.
Davis Mills to CJ Stroud. Will Levis to Cam Ward.
I'm kidding. Michael, you said Hendon over Steve Young. I mean, you just, I think you never know. You never know. Wheezy D says, I watched the 49ers have CMC at quarterback. Now Hendon Hooker's career is over because we signed career journeyman bum Kyle Allen.
Hey, Jeff, don't look at Kyle Allen Carolina highlights. I'll tell you that much. You don't want to see that Kyle Allen.
I'm not sticking up. I'm not doing that, Klotz. You can have that one. I'm not.
Who did I do that for last year? Jake
Allen.
Fromm. Your guy, Nate Sudfeld, who you said best clip holder in the league. Not no more.
I didn't say
Jake
on the
Fromm.
field he's good. Jake Fromm's not going to touch
no
the
more in the
field
locker room either. He said hit the road, Jack. Don't come back.
Your guy Jake Fromm's not even in the locker room, bud.
He made it through the season. Kyle Allen.
He's not on they cut him. He's cut.
He's better than Hendon Hooker. They should have brought him back.
I don't think he was active for one game.
Doesn't need to be. Nate Sudfeld just didn't need to be.
Yeah. Let's just move on. By the way, Raj ran into some difficulties. He's going to be joining
crashing out right now.
Yeah, he's not joining today, so it's all good. We love Raj. He's not joining today. But I want to get to. I mentioned, someone commented CMC for the 49ers. The 49ers are making a bunch of moves. By the way, they're paying dudes. All right, they're paying dudes. Look at this: Kittle, 4 years, $76.4 million. Brock, 5 years, $265 million. Fred Warner, 3 for $63. 49ers inking deals. They just paid Brandon Ayuk as well. So I think was that last offseason?
Yep.
Yeah, so they got rid of Debo. So he was making a good bit of money. They're already paying Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa's making 30, I think. I think Christian McCaffrey, he's been paid, but I don't know how that deal is like structured. I don't really understand that.
Yeah.
But 49ers are paying guys. And it comes down to this. When you have a good team, the 49ers have drafted really well. You're going to have to pay guys. And I said it on Friday, Klotz, like the 49ers, and I think me and Boone were kind of in agreement on this. I think people are kind of they're disregarding the 49ers. I hope you don't go against this one too. I don't know if you would disagree with this one, with another team that had injuries last year and now are going to bounce back. But I think the 49ers are going to be players in the NFC. I do. I think they'll be improved. They'll be healthy. They'll be better. They'll be in the playoffs. I think they'll be back. And that NFC West, I think the Rams are going to win it, but I think the 49ers will probably be 2 wins at most behind. It's just that the reality, man, when you pay guys like Brock, which they had no choice because they've been looking for a stable quarterback. I understand that. I just don't know if the sample size with Brock is like you're confident he's going to continue to do this for 5 years.
Yeah.
But they got a lot of dudes they're paying. So they're under just as much pressure as the Lions when it comes to drafting well. They just are. And at least when you have a GM like John Lynch or like Brad, you have more confidence that they can continue to do so. So 49ers dishing out bags, fellas. But
yeah, they're kind of in a lion. Yeah, they're in kind of a lion spot. I feel like, but they're probably a little bit ahead, maybe like a year, like 2 years ahead, because they've had to move on from some guys to where the Lions are going to eventually have to do that. But like you just see, like today they pay Fred Warner and the George Kittle thing and the Brock Purdy thing. Like they're in a similar spot, and they're going to have to find ways, just like the Lions are the next 2 or 3 years, to build up that team that way. So.
Yeah, I think the Niners will be good. I don't think that when you say like players, Jeff, do you mean like contenders or do you think like wild card?
I don't know if I'd say contenders. I think the NFC's just gotten better.
Think like Buccaneers tier?
Yeah. All
right.
think they can. Would I be shocked they win a playoff game? I wouldn't.
That's fair.
I don't think I wouldn't give them.
They're definitely going to be back in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I would say that. I think
be.
2 teams make it out of the NFC West. I think the 49ers and the Rams. So
I'd agree.
I think the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are probably a 7-win team. Same with the Cardinals. I don't know.
The Cardinals, I'm telling you, man, they're sleepers. I think Marv has a big year. Trey McBride's going to be going. That defense, you add a couple people.
Will Johnson, Josh Sweat.
Yeah. They got Walter Nolan too, didn't they?
Yeah.
Come on. Don't
Josh
sleep on
Sweat,
those
Will
cards.
Johnson.
Rise up.
They already have Buda Baker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got some pieces on the O-line. Shit. I mean, they got some pieces with the Cardinals. I don't know if I love Jonathan Gannon, but at least I have a sample size. I mean, I have something with them. They win last year? Didn't the Cardinals?
They won like 7-8 games. Like they weren't anything. I mean, what were they? The 16th pick?
Yeah, but they blew out the 49ers too, and they were, I think they did.
But even like that, like when they played the Lions, bro, like the Lions didn't blow them out. Like that was a tough game. Like that was a physical team. Like that was not like a game where, I mean, I thought the Lions would go in there and smoke them, and that was not the case. They're hanging around.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals will probably be around the same. Like Generic says, I live in Phoenix, and people don't give a shit about the Cardinals. That's crazy.
That is.
I mean, that is. They had a kind of a big offseason too, and no one really gives a shit. That's kind of sad. Real Arizona sports.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
It's
Well, I feel like the Suns get good tension though. No.
Yeah, well,
kind of.
Yeah,
they did have some people show up when they went on that run, but
they're a disaster right now. Though they got KD getting traded. Book rumors. Bradley Beal hates it. Their coach, Mike Budenholzer, is a disaster. It's just like people should be rooting for the Cardinals. They should. I mean, Trey McBride, some would say best tight end in the league I've seen.
Yeah, no way. Who said that? Easy? I thought I saw in comments.
Was it easy?
That I thought I could be wrong, but whoever said that, like, there's no, especially after the season George Kittle just had. No.
Yeah, I think Laporta's right. I would probably. Yeah, he's in that tier.
I'd let him
I
put
would
in
say-
Laporta tier. Different type of players, but
Yeah, he got way more catches, obviously, but yeah, I don't know if I'd give that man. I don't know if I'd give that man a tight end for sure. But yeah, I think the 49ers are going to be better. I do. I think they're, last year I didn't think the Rams would get injured as much as I did when I picked the Rams, so that wasn't even based on that. But they suffered a shit ton of injuries, so it's just a fact. The 49ers are going to be better. I mean, they got Fred Warner is going to be good for a handful of years. Nick Bosa, they got guys that are going to be very good.
They still have a good roster.
That safety they drafted last year, Mustafa, is going to be good for a long time.
They got the safety out of Penn State. I loved coming out.
I think people just look at some of the pieces they lost, and they don't realize who they still have, and some of the young players that they have. It's like, hey, they're going to be good. Like this 49ers team, they're going to be back. They had a lot of injuries last year. Once guys are healthy, they're going to still be a team to beat. They're not going to be anything to play with.
That's how it is in the NFL. And that's why, like, when we do these GM rankings, we've already done one. I mean, we had Brad and John Lynch around like a couple spots apart. But if you're in that tier, you have that type of GM. I don't think paying people, you're going to have a lot of good players. It's good problems. You have to pay guys that are really good. But I don't look at, like, if I look at teams, typically if they're paying a bunch of guys, you're like, ooh, it's going to restrict them. I don't look at the 49ers as kind of that team. I think they're just going to draft well. They're going to develop well. They brought back Robert Saleh. Like, it's like the Lions to me. Like, the Lions are going to spend a bunch of money on contracts, but they're always going to draft 2 to 3 starters a draft, or at least guys that'll be borderline starters.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, did they spend a lot of money? Yeah, they did. But, like, whether I love the Brock contract or not, they got him.
And I'll say this,
he's there too.
Ricky Pearsall's good. Jawan Jennings still there. I think this. I do believe it. I think they're still going to compete for their division and probably end up with the wild card. But I think it's going to come down to those last 2 weeks. I do. Who do they play the last 2 weeks? Do they play the Rams?
Well,
no, they don't. I mean, they end with Seattle. They might.
The thing is, though,
I don't see how they're going to win their division. I'm sorry, Klotz. I don't think I'm sorry. Their schedule, Klotz. Let's do this.
The Rams have the same thing.
Time out. No, they don't. Time out. They play the number 1 teams because they won it last year. So they play the number 1 teams.
The Rams have the 17th ranked strength of schedule, and they're the better coach team and better team on paper.
Let's do this. Let's do this real quick. Blind test. Ready? I want your honest opinion. And Jeff, if you want to do it and write down how many wins you have, I'm not going to do it. I want to go off just both of you. Let's see how many wins do the 49ers get at Seattle week 1.
Okay.
Win.
Just keep going. I'll tell you at the end.
Say it out loud. Say it out loud.
Oh, win.
So win. So I'm gonna write this down too. So win and win. At New Orleans, week 2. Win. Versus Arizona at home in San Francisco.
I think they win.
If the Cardinals always like you could say, I'll go win. I'll go win, but the Cardinals always play them tough as hell.
Okay, so week 4 versus the Jaguars at home.
I'll go. I don't know.
I'm going to go win. I think the Jags are good, but at home, they're tough to beat at home. That's a good crowd. Their crowd's legit.
I'll say loss. I think it's like one of those games you drop early.
Yeah, if not, I'll give them a loss against the Cardinals because they're not going to start 4-0. I don't think. I think
they can.
It's Cardinals or the Jags. They'll lose one of those. Games.
Yeah.
All right, and don't look at the rest of this. I just want you guys just first reaction. Don't break it down. Just first reaction, win or loss. First reaction at Los Angeles.
The Rams?
Yes.
I think they lose that one. The first one.
Okay. At Tampa Bay.
Loss.
Yeah, I'll go loss for that.
Didn't Tampa beat their ass last year?
Yeah, I just can't see how you guys have them losing to the Jags and Tampa and the Jags at home. Like 0-2.
If I'd have them losing the Cardinals, then the Cardinals always give the 49ers a run for their money. It's like the Bears.
Okay. All right. At home versus Atlanta.
Win.
At Houston.
That's a fucking toss-up.
Quick here.
I'll
agree. I'll go loss.
Quick. At New York Giants.
Win.
At home versus the Rams. Do they get swept by them?
I think they split with the Rams.
All right, so Klotz has them swept. At Arizona.
I'm
gonna go a loss this time.
Yeah, I'll go a win.
Versus Carolina at home.
Win.
On the road in Cleveland.
Win.
Versus Tennessee Titans at home.
Win.
On the road versus the Colts.
Win.
At home versus the Chicago Bears.
I'm going to go loss because it's late in the season.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
At home?
Yeah.
All right. At home versus the Seattle Seahawks.
Win.
Jeff has them winning 12 games. Klotz has them winning 10.
Yeah, I don't know if I want.
I'd have them like a 10.
Shit, that sounds like a lot.
I think with their schedule,
I think they're probably around there. Like
I think they might win 12 or 13 games this year. I think they bounce back like in a big way. And with the schedule that they have, Kyle Shanahan, they have Brock Purdy, they have a lot of the pieces that went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago that are now healthy, and they've added younger pieces. And hopefully, if they stay healthy, that schedule is a cakewalk. Like there's some games that you guys had them as losses. I'd be like, if you actually look at San Fran the last few years, like that's not a team that just drops random games. That's a team that wins games they're supposed to win. Like Kyle Shanahan doesn't just drop he wins big games.
Has a winning record
those
against
games.
Sean McVay. He does.
Yeah, so like going 0-2 versus them, I don't see that happening. I don't see them at home losing to the I don't see them losing to the Jags at home that you guys had. I think some of these road games, the Tampa, the Houston, I guess the Bears one, like they're gonna win one of those. You guys had them each losing all three of those.
I just think when I look at the Niners, like again, they're a 10-win team, so I think they're gonna be good. But I think they lost like again a Dre Greenlaw, a Hufanga. Again, these players aren't like at their primes how they were, but like their secondary is not gonna be what it has been. They lost to Davis Ward, like they lost a lot of vets. Have good players there still. But again, like it's a younger team. I think like the 49ers, they'll get back to that 12-13 win status next year.
I think
they were supposed to be.
I hate to do this again. This right here, that exact statement was the statement from the Bills last year. They lost their secondary. Their defenses are down. They've lost some big pieces. And then what happened?
Who did the
they
Bills
did
lose
pieces like last year? They lost who was injured all year, and then they lose it. They lost Stephon. No, they lost their whole secondary last year.
Had
and your guys' arguments to me last year was that whole secondary is gone.
To be fair, we disrespected the MVP.
I agree, but I still think that this 49ers team with Kyle Shanahan, they return a lot of those big-time pieces. They might have lost a couple,
it'll be a game
but
or
they return some big-time pieces.
I think it's a game or two difference, Rams and 49ers. I think the Rams will win like 12 or 13, and then the 49ers win like 11 or something, like 10 or like I think it's close. I
think the Rams are going to be good. I think there's a chance of 49. I might bet on them to win the division. Like the Rams play who the 49ers don't. They play on the road in Philly. They play Baltimore on the road, which neither of those two teams they do. They play Detroit. They play Detroit.
The Rams have the 17th strength of schedule. Like they have hard games, yes, but those are all games that the Rams could very well be winning. Like I think they have success against Baltimore because they can score like that. They've done it before. Won into Baltimore before and killed them in the rain. Lions are always going to play close against Philly. They might be able to. Might not be able to win, but like the Rams, I just think like on paper, coaching wise, this is the best Ram team we've seen since they won a Super Bowl. And when they won the Super Bowl, they won the division.
By the way, mailbag. We got about 5 minutes left. Throw them in the chat. Throw any mailbag questions, comments, concerns, any takes you vehemently disagree with. Weezy D said, "Will any of injured 49ers get hurt again, or just Davenport?" Nope, just Davenport. They do have injury-prone guys. That is fair.
They do.
But
and CMC, if he ends up being healthy, like he's one of those guys where it's just every other year for him. Every other year for him, he's just like 1 year off, 1 year on, 1 year off. This is his year.
He's
on.
so good. The NFL is so much better when CMC's healthy too.
If he stays healthy, they're winning that division without a doubt.
I disagree.
With the schedule they have, they're not losing to the Bears.
You're acting
versus
like the
healthy
Rams
CMC.
have an absolute gauntlet right now.
No, I'm not at all. Klotz, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I just think like the Rams could win those games and still have 12 wins. And the 49ers just have such an easy schedule to where they can rattle off 13 easily because it's such a bad schedule. The schedule is different. Like they don't have as hard of a schedule as the Rams. Like there are 3 or 4 games in there for the Rams that are completely different than the 49ers. Like the 49ers have the 4th place schedule. They're playing the 4th place teams of those divisions next year.
I understand.
That's what makes it so much different. With CMC, and if everyone's healthy, that's a number one overall seed. That's
Mailbag 49ers will blow. That's it's a statement, but I respect it.
With that.
Malik says Mailbag, should the NFL teams be able to challenge penalties and challenge plays where a penalty occurred but wasn't called?
No, I don't. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, that's it's tough for the speed of the game. I mean, sometimes it takes out the human element. I know people don't want to see that. But challenge penalties where a penalty occurred but wasn't called, it's like
I don't think you should.
Like if they miss something, the Lions score a touchdown, but it looked like
there's a face mask and you pull it back.
That would be a little too much in my opinion, Malik. I don't know if I'd go that far.
I think the UFL might have something similar though, to where like you can challenge a pass interference, and if it was, you get it. I could be wrong with that, but
it's kind of like Rams Saints to get to the champ. Remember that? The missed PI call, like they could have challenged. So it's like shit. I mean, some instances where it does, but those situations are more rare, you know. I don't know about that. I don't know if I would do that. I don't know about that. I see they're pushing forward with the tush push. They're not saying it's not. I'm not saying they're going through, but they're like discussing it. You know, the Packers.
Did you see the changes? They changed the
added
rule, like
the push in it, or
they just said that you can't pull or push players. So they made it to where it was just in general rule, not just.
It'd be like just a QB sneak, basically. Like you could just
or like remember how D-Mont got carried across? You're not allowed to pick players up and move them anymore. I think that's what Tom Pelissero actually tweeted out. I don't know if that was the exact ruling.
It's basically Saquon pushing Hurts, basically, with the dude as
So you could do the tush push, but you just can't have someone push you.
They have AJ Dillon?
Yeah, they did. They added him.
Wow, that's a pretty good backup. I like AJ.
They got Will Shipley running back there. Hey,
Will Shipley's not bad. Yeah, don't sleep on Will Shipley, man.
MC3 Mailbag. Could Khalif Raymond be done after the season?
With the Lions, possibly for sure. He'd be so cheap to bring back. I feel like though.
Yeah, especially if you love him. He's a good piece to this special teams, especially.
I don't know about. It just depends. I mean, like, I don't think he'll be done. The only reason I think he'd be done is if he just gets beat out. Like Dominic Lovett's the new returner and makes the roster, and then they're like, they don't really.
That
have
would be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the only scenario. Like he's super valuable with returns. Like they love him, so I don't think he'll be done after the season. He'd have to fall off a cliff for them to.
He's on his contract year.
I believe so.
Robbie says, not to beat a dead horse, but I am still bothered that Jeff thought so hard on the Gibbs and Robinson re-signing question.
Thank you, Robbie. It's crazy.
And then on Sundays, Mondays, and Thursday when the Lions play, Jeff completely flips a switch when he's actually watching Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't know what it is. And then game's over. He's so
moment takes over a little bit. It's a lot of fun doing those watch parties. We get fired up. A
lot of the times because of Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy again. It's like if it was up to Lions fans, Bijan would be like a top 15 back. That's like
he'd be a top 5 back, but Jahmyr's
he'd be
a top
5th,
2
and Jahmyr
back.
would be 3rd,
2
or 2nd or 3rd.
See, like I'm not gonna fight you too much over that. Like, okay, if he's right there, then I'm not gonna fight you.
There's a gap.
See,
There's
like,
a
that's
there's
where
a
we, like,
Saquon
okay,
Barkley,
like, stop that.
Jahmyr
There's
Gibbs,
no
Derrick
stop
Henry
that.
tier, Gap, Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson. Who else would I throw in there? Yeah, I'd say that'd probably be the tier. Probably missing somebody. Maybe
only
like a
thing
Joe
that-
Mixon. Joe Mixon had a really good year this
He's
year.
not Bijan Robinson.
I'm
Joe
not making
Bucky
a statement
Irving.
with Klotz right now.
Hey,
James
Will
Conner,
Shipley.
very productive
Will
running back.
Shipley. Don't forget about Will Shipley.
Hey, Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I love Josh Jacobs as a player. Hate the Packers, but I like Josh Jacobs. I do.
I was thinking of it. I get so mad just thinking about Packers fans. Just dorks. Like I just
That's
Packers fans, Browns fans, Colts fans. Even though I kind of was a Colts fan, dork fan bases.
All right. Well, that's a great way to end the show. Just call the Packers fans dorks.
Like that's just like you're walking around the block of
You
cheese.
can't say that. We got friends over in Packerland. All right, they're not all
That's fine. Just on Sundays when the lines are going up against them, they're dorks. Got a block of cheese on your head.
Who uses that word? Like,
It's a perfect way to describe. Like I wouldn't say Philly fans are dorks. You know what I mean? Like Packers fans, I feel like
I don't
they're
know
dorks.
what's going on right
he's
now.
kind of to justify the terminology.
I don't know what's happening.
We'll get out of here, man. Appreciate you all. It's all right. Raj couldn't join today. He had some things.
Shout
coming
out
up, but
Raj
he's
either
joining
way.
the show though this week. Tomorrow we got a special guest joining. Wednesday, you know what time it is. So the next 2 days, man, big shows planned. Be there tomorrow, 8:00. Until then, we will catch you all.
Love you guys.
Peace.